Can I
That is
change my
surprising.
name?
You should work on that, Larkin. You've been there.
Yeah.
You've been in your place longer than I've been at mine, and well, my background doesn't really help the situation, to be honest. But
Okay.
I
You
do
have
have
like
artwork around.
you have like your own art that you can put on the walls, like
That's
you
true.
know.
Yeah, Albert.
You could
Yeah,
always
Albert.
get you could always get an arcane poster, put that up. I don't know,
Yeah. There we go. There we
or a
go. Perfect.
chessboard.
A chessboard,
Yeah,
dude. I feel like one of those like signed chessboards from like Gary Kasparov or whatever, you know.
I totally know who that is. 100%.
What, dude? Okay, you don't need to know like chess players, but this guy's pretty famous. He's like the best player of all time. Still alive, by the way.
Hmm. But
He
yeah,
was the Kasparov was the human on in the Deep Blue match. You know what I'm talking about,
Prangon,
Albert?
are you following this?
Yes,
Because I'm
yes,
definitely not.
yes. I know what he's talking about. Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
The famous computer match between chess world champion and computer, where the computer won. Albert,
Albert,
this was like this is like not even. This is not even.
yourself? How do you
By the
call
way,
yourself an engineer?
Bro,
A
this is not even like a
engineer.
chess thing, by the way, Albert. This
I'm
was like
working a CS job, okay? Can I really
This
call
was like
What do you
myself
mean?
an
This is
engineer?
this is software engineering 101.
this was like a famous event, like
Do you know
not a chess
Ada?
event even. Like, oh my
I don't know,
god.
bro.
Oh my-
Do you know?
I'm pretty sure I heard that someone lost to a computer once, but why would I know the person's name? Like,
No,
you
that
know
makes
who-
sense. I'm just
I don't
wondering if
know.
you should have heard of Deep Blue at least, right? It's like,
no, I
Yeah.
just heard what I
Really?
just said,
Oh, okay,
and that's
okay.
it. Yeah,
Do you know?
that's all I
Do you know
know.
who Ada? Do you know who Ada Lovelace is?
That is a familiar name that I've definitely heard before, but I don't.
is she
recall
credited with the
vividly.
first computer? I feel like
I think she was like the first computer scientist. Yes.
Oh, is
first
that
computer
why?
scientist.
Isn't there a language called Ada?
English mathematician
Yes.
and writer, chiefly known for her work on Charles Babbage's proposed mechanical general purpose computer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yes, there is a language called Ada. Yes.
Got-
Nobody actually uses it.
It is
Nobody.
true.
Nobody.
sure?
Nobody important uses it.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I mean, I have VB going on over here.
Okay. The same could be said. Oh my
Um,
god.
But yeah, I just moved my camera. Did not mean to do that. I guess we could just get started because I don't know how long Alex is going to help
Yeah,
his mom with whatever. So, I was already recording for a bit, but that's fine.
Excellent. It could be like a running gag, you know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
every episode, like Alex joins, like 30, 40 minutes in, we could have like an over under, like
Of course.
you know.
We have a ratio of how long he's going to be in the episode.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a bit of an intro. Nothing too fancy, but I did want to have something because you're a guest, so we'll see how this goes. All right, so hello and welcome back to a moment in time, your window into the lives of my buddies Alex, Larkin, and myself. Although Alex isn't here at the moment.
Damn, we
Today,
got a whole slogan.
we do. Today we have a guest joining. He is the former president of the Stony Brook Robotics team, an avid anime fan, a driven professional, and the best team project lead a guy could ask for. Please welcome Prangon Ghose.
Damn.
hi everyone.
Clap it up. Let's go.
I don't know. I'd call myself the best project lead a team could have, but
Hey,
you know,
from college,
working toward
in
it.
college,
Working toward it.
we'll go with it. You're the best one that I remember having in college. You also were the lead for most of the projects that I had with like bigger groups. But hey, that's besides the point. All right, I stand by that statement. So yeah, I guess to get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, Prangon. Just general stuff, not necessarily like just life stuff, I guess. I don't know. Like whatever you want to say to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I like anime. I try to keep up with it. Like, it's don't always have a lot of free time to give to that. But I think like the past year, my life, now that I've graduated college, I've been experimenting with different ways of adulting and like I guess like settling into a routine, but also combine that with like continuing to challenge myself in new areas, because it's like if you become really comfortable, like you don't, like you're gonna lose that motivation, you're gonna lose that spark. And I want to even when I retire, still have that spark for learning something new and stuff like that. And I think that's very important as an engineer and as someone who wants to continue to improve. But I think it can be really difficult to have that, because like there's so many things out there, especially now, to distract you from from time every day to learn something. I could spend all my time in front of TikTok or YouTube. What is it called? YouTube Reels.
Yeah, Reels or
Yeah.
Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts.
Instagram Reels. Yes, one of those. Yeah, so I can spend my days there, but I try to take some time. It helps that I'm doing a master's program, so I have to learn something new every week. So
Gotcha. I like how you mentioned graduating college while also being just starting back in college again. So
yes,
choice of phrase right there.
Yes, I am back in college.
Yeah.
So you are a master's student in what type of engineering?
In computer science. So that's one of it. Like when I was
fully switched. Alrighty.
Yes.
Okay.
When I was at Stony Brook, I was in computer engineering. But then I think like after the first year, I realized I wanted to be in computer science. But I think at that point it would have been kind of difficult to switch, and then I might have to redo some work. So I just continued on with computer engineering. But I realized like after every class, I really liked my software classes, and I wouldn't say I despised, but I found my electrical and analog electronics classes to be like a chore I did just to get the grade. And some of that could have been teachers. Yeah, we didn't have the greatest teachers. And in some ways, I learned a lot more outside of class than through robotics and friends than I learned in those classes. So once I chose my job as a software engineer, so it's it was easier for me to sell that I want to be dive more into comp sci, and so I chose that, and it's been good so far. I mean, I'm still going through the first semester, so I don't know whether I'll keep to it, but hopefully I'll finish.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing 2 years, 1 year? What's going on there? Do you know?
I think it's gonna be like 3 years because I'm only taking like one class a semester.
Part time. Gotcha.
Yeah, part time. Yeah, but work's paying for it, so it's great.
Oh wow,
that's
the whole
fantastic.
thing? That's crazy. Yeah, wow.
I mean, the program is pretty cheap. Highly recommend the program at Georgia Tech. It's one of, I think, like for online master's CS, it's I think the best in the country. So highly recommend.
Nice.
Wow, yeah.
I'm surprised.
How is that like doing a part-time master's while working? Do you work 40 hours a week? Because I can imagine like if I tried to do something like this, it could be very taxing.
Yeah, so I work at Lockheed Martin, which is more of a traditional engineering company. So there's less, I guess, like we're all salaried, but there is like what we'd consider overtime, like over 40 hours a week, or a significant amount of time beyond 40 hours a week, which is not usually the case at my job. So I can usually have a lot of the weekend to study and do classwork, and since I work remotely, it's pretty flexible. The classes are online. And since I'm only doing like 40 hours, I have some more time to do, and I only work 4 days a week too, so I get like 3-day weekends every weekend.
I see. Yes. Nice. Yeah.
Oh, you have a 9-hour or 10-hour day each week?
10-hour day. Yeah.
Oh. Is that not taxing for you, dude? Because I remember doing that.
It is.
And it's not fun.
It is. It is not. It is. The thing is, like, realistically, nobody's actually productive for all 10 hours of that day.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, if we switch to a 32-hour week, I would be probably just as productive. And get the just as much same, because at the beginning of the day, the end of the day, like there's 2-hour blocks at the beginning and end. I'm probably like the least active because I'm like getting my brain into gear and understanding where I left off and like that. So I think it is taxing, but like the pace of work at Lockheed Martin isn't super hard. Like it's not like a startup environment.
Hmm.
Not even, nor really a tech company. So they're not like I find it quite easy to chill and get my master's done while also make some pay and stuff like that. So
That makes sense.
I think it's a good fit. There's a lot like it's pretty easy to coast. Like if you don't care about the money,
Okay.
it's a very easy place to coast. There's people here who've been working for like 30 years.
Hmm.
I'm like, what are you doing? Because they could, in terms of their experience in the industry, they could have made more money if they popped around. Like
Right.
even if it was just in aerospace, like they could have gone to Boeing, gotten that 10% bonus, okay, and then like 2 years later come back to Lockheed, get another 10% bonus on the switch, and then let's say like okay, you stay for another 5 years, switch to like BAE Systems, get another 10% bonus there, and then like pop around because there's like quite a few companies in defense, and like you have a lot of same skill sets, they're pretty easy to switch in between. And if you have a clearance, it's great because they always need people with clearance.
Hmm.
You literally can, because it's all like cleared roles, especially if you work in like a popular area like Washington, D.C., where there's like every company has an office in the D.C. area. Like you could live in like D.C. and just work in like 15 different companies and not even have to move. It's great. And,
That's
if you
interesting,
do
though. I
that,
mean, do you think that that's
if you want
mostly
to do that.
because people aren't thinking about that, or like they're just focused on their current job, or do you think they like made that choice? Because I like honestly, usually you just don't think about it. You're just like, oh, I'm at this job, just gonna focus on that and then relax. Especially as you get older too, because like you have other things to worry about outside of work. What do you think on that?
Yeah, it's a little. So I agree with you. Like a lot of the people, like the people I'm talking about who are like 30 years of the company,
Mhm.
from the company in like the 90s,
Right.
and stuff like that. So they're in a different generation than us. Where like I think in our Gen Z millennial generation, like people are more open to switching around
Right.
companies. Um, and there's more focus on like the passion for it.
Hmm.
Where I think at their generation, like my manager's generation, they're more focused on, do they like the team, feel comfortable, they're not pushing to try to be a millionaire. Also, like, for them, when they were buying houses and stuff, like it was a lot cheaper.
It was 12
So
raspberries, I believe, to buy a house. There was a
yeah,
joke online that I saw where this guy was talking about how the difference, or like he hates talking to older people, talking about how they bought their houses, and he like made a voice and everything. It was just like I paid 12 raspberries and like a nickel or whatever to buy this house. I don't recall who the actual comedian was, otherwise I would say it, but it was just like a random reel or short or something that popped up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really true. Like the cost of living and everything, not something people thought about as much back then, or at least not to the same degree. Because now it's like, oh, if you're like 20 years old, you're like, all right, I got to make like a billion dollars by the time I'm like 25. Otherwise, what's going on? Like, I don't know. I think that's just a different mindset. Also, like exposure to like what those lifestyles are
yeah,
as well. So I think it's
right. I
interesting.
think social media really exposes you to like the millionaire lifestyle, and like
Hmm.
especially if you work in like the tech sector, like there's a pretty high competition for labor, and companies are shelling out hundreds of thousands of dollars for single employees.
Right.
Very different compared to like like my pay right now is probably what my manager made when he was like a staffing there like
Hmm.
7 years out of college.
Right.
So the pay is definitely more, it's a the world is a lot more software focused, and like there's a bigger demand for engineers and stuff like that. But I mean, it's also like they say it also because they like the team, and what they hope. I mean, I don't think like a lot of people like care about the mission. It's always about it's more about the team, and like get decent pay, so they're okay with it.
Right.
There's no push to if they don't have a toxic manager, like they're probably not going to leave. I think that's one of
Yeah.
the big things. Like people leave because of toxic managers,
Mhm.
less so because of
Mhm.
like the pay. unless it's like the
Yeah.
pay is significant. If the pay is about the same, they're not gonna leave.
Right.
And I think back then there was also like less on like I don't think Glassdoor was a thing, Bang wasn't a thing. So now how are you
Right.
comparing? People were less into like sharing your salary data, right?
Oh yeah,
Like Albert,
that's definitely true.
yeah,
Even now, I
like
feel
Albert,
like most people are like,
yeah,
we don't really talk about it as much unless you're like really close with the people. Like you wouldn't just like be like, oh, this is my acquaintance. Let's talk about our salary. Like people, I think especially in the U.S. culture wise, it's like something you don't talk about as much.
I don't talk about it. I mean, in Asian cultures, you don't talk either.
Oh, that too.
Usually,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like it's usually like, okay, you're an engineer. Okay, you make a certain amount of money, but
Mhm.
if I'm an engineer, I'm not gonna. They usually don't compare.
Right.
It's like
It's like a
it's like a
vague
taboo
gray
thing.
area that you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
there's this giant box of ranges of amount that you can make or whatever, but we don't actually know. But like now that
But
it's more like, oh, you can look online and figure out what different companies are offering and stuff. So there's like more information. Definitely useful.
like and all of us, I think us are engineers. Like we speak from privilege. Like
Yeah,
I feel like we are comparing salaries between really other privileged people because
that
like
is true.
we like our starting salaries are is more than like twice like the medium wage in America.
Hmm.
So it's like, and we're gonna be like multimillionaire by the time we retire. Even before, by the
If
time
we're
we're like
smart
40.
and don't live in like New York City
Yeah,
or LA.
Hey,
Yeah.
what are you
well,
trying to say, huh?
I mean, if you live in those areas, most likely you're gonna make quite a bit
Right.
No,
more.
of
But then
course.
you
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
yeah. So, but in those cases, you need to consider saving and like how much you're saving.
Yeah.
Not live paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yeah. I
So,
will say though,
but I think
somehow
like
Larkin is spending less money than I am in just generally speaking. At least from what I can tell,
Roommates,
your
man.
rent is less
My
than mine and you're living in a house. You get
I
free
have
meals. Like what is
dude,
going on?
I have three roommates, which actually dramatically cuts the cost because like we've managed to fit four people in like a three-bedroom house, right? The attic is effectively a fourth bedroom, but legally they can't state it that way. Uh, so we've got four people who, all can bring in income via jobs and all can pay their own like slice of the pie. But typically this house is intended for like, a family of four where two of them are kids, like taking their own bedroom sort of thing, right? So of course the price on the market is going to be much lower than if we took a one bedroom apartment like directly in Manhattan or something, right? So yeah, I think like a big part of trying to find like an optimized way to live that's not necessarily cheap. Maybe cheap not isn't the right word, but that's relatively inexpensive relative to your area. Regardless where that is like finding these little hacks, right? Whether that's having a ton of roommates or like living a little bit farther away, but then you have a really easy commute or something. Um, yeah, I mean, you have to get kind of lucky because obviously the market for renting is going to increase the price of some of these locations. But yeah, that's one way to do it. Just have a shitload of roommates. I
Mhm.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta
I
say,
mean, if you have a
oh, go ahead.
nice room, it's okay. I mean, if you have a nice like single, if separate room, you can share the rest of the stuff. Like, yeah, Albert. I mean, in college, that's what we did. Like in our dorms, we were kind of like in
Yes.
suite style. So,
However, it is very nice to not have anyone in your area. Because I live in a one bedroom right now, and it's
Yeah.
fantastic. I enjoy it very much. The one downside is like you really have to try and like do things with people right now.
Hmm.
That's definitely the biggest
definitely.
downside. Because like back in college, you just like walk outside of your bedroom and you're like, oh, people are sitting there. I guess I'll say hello. But now it's a lot more effort because you got to be like, all right, let's see what's going on in like group chats, see if there's anything already planned, and then you got to be like, all right, do I actually want to do these things? Do I want to make my own plans? Like it's like multiple extra steps, and you can't just like step outside of your room and like just have a plan drop in your lap almost as much. Um, However, the idea of just like living with people versus yourself, like it's definitely great when you're around people that you already know. There is definitely the question mark of like the horrible roommate experience when you're in a new place. That was another factor for me where I was like, I do not want to go to a place where I know no one and then potentially have a terrible roommate right off the bat. So yeah, that was definitely a question mark for me. By the way, I did want to mention Prangon since you haven't really met anyone here. Apart from maybe Alex, I don't know if you've ever passed by because you've visited my
I'm
room
not
like a few
sure.
times, but I don't actually recall if Alex was around at those moments. But Alex also went to Stony Brook. He was a suite mate of mine for a while, pre-COVID, and then Larkin and I grew up in high school together. But everyone here is from New York. I'm the only one no longer in New York right now. Although Prangon, you
Shameful.
did step outside the state
Shame.
for a bit. But yeah. Did either of you guys have any questions? I wasn't sure if you guys did. Otherwise, I'll just look through my list.
Well, I just joined a little late, so I was just trying to catch up on the conversation as it was just happening.
Yeah, no worries.
Apologies that my mom needed help with something real quick. She's off from work today.
Gotcha.
I was just about to get ready and sit down. She's like, "I need your help with something." I was like, "All right, let me help you first."
Mhm.
You know, so I'm a little late again, but not as bad as the other time still. So
Right.
we're still improving here.
Okay, so
Yeah, but-
I do have a question. Because I was just curious about this. Is it strange being like back in school, and what's it been like juggling that with work life and just like normal life, especially now that you're home again?
I mean, I would say online grad school is different from undergrad, especially, especially since, I'm not on campus. There's no campus. There's no, like the people who are my classmates, who we actually speak quite a bit over Discord. We have a Discord chat for the class. Like they're wide range. Like I have people who are like in their 40s. They're like managers at their companies, and like they're coming back for their grad degree. But also like people my age who are like a couple years outside of college, and they're coming back because their company's paying for it. So it's like a wide range. And some of them are coming from like non-traditional backgrounds. So like they were in like psychology or like English, but they want to move into tech because that's where the money is. So I think it's a very different experience. It's a lot more like it's kind of like what you talked about, where like there's no like companionship is not as readily available. Like you need to go out and look for it. Like in undergrad, like if you get out of your dorm, there's immediately people. You just say hi to one. You went to the dining halls, and there were people. You don't need to necessarily. You might know people from the class, say hello. It was pretty easy to like meet people and connect. Where like in online grad school, it's kind of like, I guess like it's kind of like a microcosm of like being an adult. It's like like you automatically register to the classwork and stuff is online. There's no like, for us, there's no in-person, there's no like, there's not even like video lectures. It's just been like asynchronous. You just do whenever, you just listen to the pre-recorded lectures whenever and do your homework and submit. So, and then like, we have some chat groups to answer questions and stuff, but it's like, if you don't make the effort to go out and, meet people and ask for interest and like try to do meetups actively, like you're not going to find anyone. And that's kind of similar to just being outside of college, just being an adult, especially if you're in a new place. Like when I moved to Maryland, like I didn't know anyone, so like I was just trying to reach out to like people, alumni from my high school, alumni from Stony, who were in the area, and like you kind of need to actively do it. And that's kind of like grad school in that respect. Like I wouldn't say so far I'm only taking one class. It's not that, I wouldn't say that's difficult. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm only taking one class so far, so I don't know. There are harder classes than this one, but I wanted to get an easy start. So, and like you also need to balance time. I realized like when after you graduate and like you become you have a job and stuff. There's so many other responsibilities that come up. Like before, when I was living by myself, I felt like I had more free time because I was just by myself. I could do whatever I want. But now that I'm back in New York, it's like, well, my parents need help. Just just like Alex, they'll call me, and then now I have to like stop everything that I'm doing, put a pause on everything. That I have to go help them, however long that takes, and then come back. And I'm like, okay, now I need to spend another 15 minutes getting into the groove of it, and then there could be like another 15 different things that break up your day. It can be difficult to get to that like 3-4 hour of groove time where you're in the flow, you're doing homework or you're doing work stream. and it's a little harder, especially if you live with other people, live with your family. I think I think it's been okay. I mean, I pride myself on having good time management and like blocking time and stuff, and the 3-day weekends definitely help a lot. Like I try to have like one day where I'm like I don't do any work, like I want to break time, like which is usually like a Sunday or the Friday, and then like the other days I am like doing the homework or studying. So I think it's a good balance. But I think like you kind of need to like if you're just doing a grad program like this, you need to decide whether you really find it useful and like whether it motivates you, like what is motivating you to do it. Because like if you're just doing it for I just want the degree, or and perhaps that's not the right motivation, because like if it's gonna take you like 2-3 years, you're gonna feel that like you're gonna lose time. Like you're gonna feel like, oh, I could have gone with my friends to study. Like I'm not missing out on stuff. So you gotta have that motivation, kind of motivation that's really pushing you to do it. Because some of the days I'm like, I do not want to study, but I need to sit down and study because I have an assignment due tomorrow.
Right.
Sorry, I went rambly a little bit, but
No, that's fine.
hope
good.
you guys got
That's
it.
fine.
But I guess my follow-up question would be, so what is like the sum of your motivations for getting the degree? I mean, obviously, like getting a master's degree, like from like a financial perspective, I mean, it can help you long term and whatnot. But are there other like more intrinsic motivations that are that made you want to go back to school?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think earlier when Alex wasn't here, like I was a computer engineering major, and then but I like software. And I wanted to switch to the comp sci major, but I didn't. And then like so this is master in comp sci, so it kind of allows me to learn those fundamentals. Like even like I feel like when I interview and stuff like that for jobs, it's kind of like some of the more conceptual and theory based classes that I didn't take, especially a lot of like what I learned about programming. It's just like watching a YouTube video and like trying out a project. It's not the same thing as like CSE 373 or something, which is like algorithms. So it's Skina, who was like a god tier in algorithms and stuff. I think all the Google engineers have his book on this. So it's like I wanted.
I mean, Larkin, do you have that book on your shelf?
No, I've never heard of this book.
Okay, I don't know. But yeah, but like learning that theory, it's like perhaps you're never going to use, but I feel like I missed out on that, and I think it's like I have always had like kind of imposter syndrome about being an engineer, and like I think like I guess like that my motivation is like one thing, it'll give me the money, like the straight ones are like I might get promoted from it, and like I'm not anything, so it's like in terms of monetary, it's just my time. There is nothing, it's just my time, and then I might get more money in the future, and then I get to learn something new. There's some cool classes in like machine learning and like networking and computer and security and cryptography there that I take that might be a little harder to access if I didn't know what I was doing with YouTube, Google searching and stuff. And the motivation is like I feel like if I'm more credentialed, I'll feel more like an engineer. I don't know if that's a proper word, but like I can say like, oh, I am a software engineer because I have a degree in comp sci, and it's like and that's probably not the right mindset. I feel like some would say you should just do it based on what you can achieve, but I think like I think it can sometimes be daunting to being considered as an engineer, and and being able to take on large tasks. It's nice to be like have some sort of confidence going into a new problem, and for me like maybe that confidence is like, okay, I have a degree in comp, I can do this. Don't freak out, and keep calm and get it done. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of value in confidence. I think it's kind of underrated in a sense. Like oftentimes, I think our brains can sort of trick us into making like maybe the practical decision or like the shortcut. Maybe you could just get a degree with computer engineering and you'd probably do fine and whatever. But yeah, it can be stressful. Honestly, it can be a big like underlying stressor, and it can be really far below the surface when you have some sort of nagging doubt about your abilities, um, as an engineer in or in any practice really. And I think just having some sort of factual basis that you can fall back on, not necessarily when you're trying to prove yourself to someone else, but just on a personal basis, having say a degree or something you can ground yourself in when you start to doubt your abilities, because everyone is going to have those moments of doubt. It's more about how you can rebound from it. um, and yeah, having like a basis where you can say yes, I have a degree, even if you don't believe it in the moment. It gives yourself a place to start, and it can prevent you from spiraling into greater doubt, and then it can prevent you from having hindrance to your performance. So yeah, I think that's like actually a really big point that shouldn't be underrated. That doing something just for the sake of having that confidence in the future, even if it's just like a psychological trick for yourself, if it helps ground you and helps you become more stable, more performative, I mean, I think it's extremely valuable. Yeah.
I will say, from a self-esteem, self-confidence perspective, it has the potential to help. It also has the potential for imposter syndrome, like you mentioned, to set in still, because I've definitely felt that, where it's like, oh, I don't know if I can actually talk about the things that I supposedly studied at times. And
Yeah.
when you feel that, it's always like, wait, then how do I have this like certificate saying that I know these things when I don't necessarily actually remember them word from word, or I
Hmm.
don't know how to explain those things in the same depth or detail, based off of how long has passed or what one reason or the other. So I will say, like, the I would say the biggest thing is twofold, or it's actually two pieces, right? Actually developing the competence of whatever you're trying to say you're like a intelligent or an expert in, and then also figuring out how to confidently talk about those things. Because if you have one but not the other, you'll still feel that imposter syndrome. Because I think that's something that I've struggled with and probably still do, where it's like you say you have these certifications or these experiences or whatever, but if you don't know how to talk about them in depth, or at least not to the depth that you feel is necessary to portray that intelligence or competence or experience or whatever, it can definitely be demoralizing in a sense. So that is interesting. I definitely think you have like a right element of it, where it's like, these are things that you want to develop in, and that's definitely something that I've seen in you for like as long as I've known you. But I do think that there's an extra piece where it's also like just being able to confidently speak about those things is also very important. So I thought I'd mention that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that. Definitely, definitely the demoralizing aspect too that you bring up. Definitely, even after getting the master's degree, that still doesn't go away. Like right now, because I'm looking for like the jobs and everything, looking for a computer science job, game programming preferably. And I've been applying, like upwards of 20 jobs, and everything is either they just don't respond or a rejection. Sometimes I just get like so demoralized. Like I'm like, what was the point of me doing all that studying and having these two pieces of paper? Like if that's not clearly not enough, like what else do they want me to do? It comes off sometimes. Like obviously, I know it's just because most of it's just algorithmic, whatever. They just like it just throws it out immediately. But at the same time, it's like if you don't even have the courtesy to respond to me, it's like what was the point of me doing all that studying for nothing? Like it does come across often as very demoralizing sometimes. So
Right.
I definitely agree with that point.
I will say
Yeah, I
also,
mean,
like you've
go ahead.
for Alex specifically, you're looking in a specific sector of comp sci, so I think that's also
Yes.
part of it. So just like keep
Yeah.
that in
No, it is.
mind as perspective, because um, game development is a very cutthroat industry. Um,
Yep.
so it's
Yep.
like that's also part of it. So just like keep that in the back of your mind too. That it's not necessarily like a lack of competence or anything like that, or like capability. It's also just because that industry is so cutthroat in comparison to the larger system that is like software tech positions.
Yep.
So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that too, because it is
Oh
a
yeah,
little
no,
bit
I'm
different.
definitely aware of that, and I'm sure that, eventually, if I'm not getting anything here, I'm just gonna have to go for some, just expand my horizons a little. But I figured like something I'm really passionate about, I would want to do, or what I want to do. I might as well give it a couple months to just go all gung ho on it, see if I get something to bite. If not, oh well, no big deal, we'll try again at some other point, just get some now just to help me stay afloat here.
Right.
Maybe work on my own personal projects and stuff on the side, and then in a couple months a year come back around and see if anything's any different. Is the current philosophy and plan I'm going with.
Right. Yeah, and I have someone that I worked with. Their last day was actually yesterday. They left the position that they were at for quite some time. They were very good at it, and now they're switching to game development, which is something that they've been doing in their free time for like quite some time. So
Yeah, exactly.
that is definitely something that's possible. But like obviously, right now you're still looking to see if that's a thing that you could do right away. But there are many paths down the same.
Oh,
The same
100%.
road. So yeah, just keep that in mind because it's not necessarily one thing or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I've realized now that I'm like, it's like in like software engineering recruiting, what I think the degree it's kind of like a rubber stamp. I don't want to say a rubber stamp. It's not that it's the right word, but it's kind of like it's a minimum level of like a minimum requirement. Most jobs want some level of like other skill, whether you did an internship and you can speak to it, or personal projects and you can speak to that. Where you've actually shown, some level of programming skill. Perhaps that is a problem of our comp sci education or computer engineering education, where like the degree doesn't guarantee a job. Like, plenty of people, but plenty of, when I was at Stony Brook, even when I was a freshman, and I think like some of the older alumni that I've spoken to, and who went to Stony Brook to recruit, was like, there would always be a few people who come in. It's like they just it's their senior year, is the first time they've ever spoken to a recruiter. Like they can barely make communicate anything, and like they're trying to just like somehow explain this resume they have, which is like 8 pages, and they've cobbled together. It's like a lot of the job hiring process is surprisingly the ATS systems that will filter you out aside is very very old school. It's like you need to be able to communicate yourself very appropriately. It's kind of, you can't be able to speak confidently. You don't have to like know anything, and know anything super in depth about your field, but like when you first talk to the recruiter, which will probably be your first line, you should be able to speak somewhat confident about whatever's on your resume. Like whether you did this project, you did this class, you have to like, I guess like, and in this way, it's like you kind of have to let your humbleness go and like speak about how you did this amazing thing. Whether it's just like a class project or something, and then like beyond that, when you go to an actual and then when you go through like the hiring manager and stuff, that's when you can show up. But I think like a lot of people outside of after college, when they're looking for their job, get pushed back by the recruiter and not like the technical person behind them, who might even be like they get thrown out by the filter, which is either automated or some like non-engineering recruiter who doesn't know anything. I just need to look for Java on the resume. Whether it says Java or C++ somewhere on the resume, they're literally contracting the resume, because otherwise, they have to go through like 20 resumes. So like, they're not actually reading through what you did. So, and that's why, and that's like, in this strat, as your first, and after you make that first hurdle of your first job, you'll notice like the recruiters will come after you get past the 1, 2, 3 mark. You'll get a lot of recruiters reaching out to you instead, because we might think our level, like, oh, there's not enough jobs, I can't even get one job, but like there's a lot of job openings for software engineers. That might not be in like programming, but like elsewhere across the industry, like thousands of job openings, and like they can't fill them. Because most of the time what they're looking for is like someone with some experience, because a lot of companies can't afford to train like a new graduate. New grads are like someone who is still probably a new grad, but like now becoming comfortable being an engineer. New grads, like we're like idiots. Like we're complete idiots. We don't know how to like. Some of these kids don't know what Git is. Don't know version control at all. They don't know how to comment. They don't know like Java docs. They don't know even how to like read documentation or make like a this document. Like like the stuff that teach you in like CS 101 or this one, like it's not gonna prepare you at all for like, it'll prepare you for like a personal project, but nothing like what like the level of work you're expected. Even for like
Right.
a small team at like a large company, like you're not only writing the code for yourself, you're writing the code for the engineers that are in, the engineers who will work on it 10 years down the road. You don't know how long this product is running. You don't even know if you're going to be at the same team, same company, etc. So there's a lot of other industry knowledge that you need, and like that's very hard, can be very difficult to teach a new grad. So a lot of companies looking for people who are like 3 to 5 years of experience. And once you get to that, you'll find tons of recruiters who will reach out to you on LinkedIn. I've been getting a lot of recruiters reaching out, offering interviews because I've gotten to that point. They know that I somewhat understand that industry knowledge and I can pick up a language, whatever that they need. Going from Java to ++ or like Java to Go or whatever, or Python, it's like that's not difficult. The hard part is knowing everything else and being able to learn quickly and get started and contribute. And I think like, that's why that why like new grads sometimes find it hard. And like, I felt the same. Like I was applying to like over 100 companies when I first started recruiting, and like I think it was like not recruiting, like when I was looking for jobs in like 2020, and I found it hard. And like I think I got very lucky because Lockheed Martin gave me a chance. And like there's a lot of like some of these bigger companies, can give you a chance and get you out your foot in the door. I think the important thing is getting your foot in the door. They will, you can be like me, you can stay a few years, you can just stay like 6 months and learn some of the background and try to switch. But I think getting that having a company where your title is software engineer, whether it's level 1, level 2, whatever, on your resume is so much more important than like your degree. And like after like the first 2 years, like your degree is like nothing. Like, you have a degree, okay? Like your experience is so much more important. So it's literally a checkbox. It's like, oh, does he have a degree in? Because like some companies, but I mean I think it's becoming less and less of a checkbox and more like an optional in some companies. But a lot of companies, it is just a checkbox, and it doesn't even have to be in like comp sci. These days, like if you have held a software engineer position, even if your degree was in like psychology or something like that, they don't care. It's like it's a checkbox. So, for new grads, like I'm also, I don't know, Albert, Yuki, right?
Yeah.
Who's our doctor friend? He's into robotics, and he just got a master's in mechanical engineering. But he wants to do like software and robotics. For him, it's been very difficult to get a job because he knows how like the theory, but he doesn't know how to actually like build write production software and write like production code, and like what it even means to like go through someone else's code and and be able to contribute. So my suggestion was like just accept any like in first level role that is not going to be like super toxic, and then like after stay a year, maybe you like it, maybe you don't, and then you switch to wherever you want, because then you have your software engineer, and like nobody can deny it. Nobody can deny like you weren't a software engineer because you've held that role somewhere, and then like, for one thing, you're getting money. You are getting a paycheck. It's great. It's such like a high thing when I first got my first paycheck, when I got my first bonus. It's amazing, and like you get self confidence. What Ken was talking about, it's like that confidence is so important. Like being able to sell yourself, because it's like when after the year and a half now, like when I get calls from recruiters, I'm not like being desperate about, oh, I need a job. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to work for your random like hedge fund, just like making money for other people. Like I can be Mickey because like I have confidence in my own abilities, and I now know what I want to do, right? So getting that first job is so much important. And whether I recommend just be as wide as possible as to where you look for your first experience. It doesn't have to be like something you like, but just look for like, are you gonna stuff at the first company? Because as a level 1 engineer, you're not going to do anything that's super important. Like, you're not going to contribute anything that is like mind-bogglingly important to the company. Like, Larkin, even though he's been there for like about a year at Google, he's not providing anything that's like mind-bogglingly important to Google's bottom line, right?
I would
So,
even
like-
say less than that. I might be an active detriment to the company, but anyway.
It's okay. You're still
That's
building
actually
up those SQL skills, right?
Exactly.
Yes. So it's like I've actually read like how like level 1 and level 2 engineers are actually a negative to, like a negative investment to the company. It's only become senior, like a senior engineer, like 5 years down, 5 years of experience. That's when you start actually giving enough to the company where like you get more, you're worth more than the company, how much the company's paying you. So like it's I'd recommend just take a job where you're gonna learn a lot. Whether that's in C++, that's usually C++, C# is usually like game dev languages, I think. There's plenty of companies that use Unity and stuff, but they're not specifically in game dev. Like Lockheed Martin uses Unity. We have a ton of Unity engineers, shop engineers, because we work on simulations for like, fighter aircraft and build simulators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's super cool. You'll learn a lot, and then you can switch to game dev if that's what you really want.
Yeah,
I think
makes sense.
By the way,
I think getting that experience.
Prangon,
Yeah.
are you speaking louder because your voice is crackling now? I don't know if that's because you're speaking too loud into your mic. Can you try talking like
I'm sorry.
full volume real quick?
Yeah, sorry. Is this
Okay,
better?
Yeah, I think that's why. Yeah, I think
Okay,
that's the
sorry.
upper limit of what your mic was going to pick up. Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. Okay, good to know. But yeah, I recommend just getting the first job. Don't worry so much about, oh, this needs to be in the perfect industry. Because you don't know, like 10 years down the road, are you even gonna like game dev? Like, what if like your other things, other hobbies and other passions. Don't try to focus on that first job as like you're not gonna stay for like 30 years. So like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
One
That's
other
all
thing.
good advice. Thank you for that.
Yeah, one other thing I will say is also you can ask me like or anyone like anytime like
Yeah.
that's like in a similar area or like to look at like resumes or just talk through problems or even just like also like looking around for career fairs because I mean you could go to the Stony Brook ones. I don't know if they already happened this semester. They probably did, but next semester.
Probably
but
did.
also like just online events and stuff like that. Like you can check on Handshake since you're a Stony Brook alum. You should still have access to that stuff, and be able to go to any like recruiter driven events. And even in general, I believe you can probably just look on Google for recruiter driven events to like try and meet people. Because typically at those events you could still like just slide in to DMs afterwards on LinkedIn or like things like that.
That's what you do, Albert.
I
That's
mean,
your classic.
I typically at the end of one of those types of events will message people on LinkedIn or something just so I have a way of communication or like add them as a connection or whatever. Whether or not that goes anywhere is up to you. Like you'd have to try and maintain something there or just like immediately try to figure out what's coming next with that individual before like you forget about their existence or whatever, because that does happen too. Like you won't remember every recruiter you speak to for the rest of your life. However, maybe having a list of that or things like that. So definitely going to those types of events and asking the people that are in the area or like just asking questions to people that is also very helpful. So that is something I will say as well. But yeah, I did want to ask some rapid fire questions. I think this would be a good time.
Let's go.
So the way that I want to do this is Prangon, you can answer first, and then I guess we can go Prangon, Alex, Larkin, and then I'll go last as well. Just like most of these are just like very rapid fire, like you just have like 1 or 2 words you could say. So yeah, let's just do that. I just thought it would be a fun thing to do.
All right, let's do it.
Alrighty. So first question is favorite food.
Ice cream.
Alex.
Oh, that's right. I was going second. I already forgot the order. Favorite food? Vodka pasta. S tier.
I don't know if I have a favorite food. It used to be watermelon though. I really like watermelon, so
Okay.
I guess we'll go with that. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with samosas.
Samosas, yo! All right. Oh, fancy out here.
Favorite anime,
Okay.
Larkin? You can say favorite show.
Dude, what the
Why does he get favorite show? But the rest
Because
of
he
us
doesn't
get
Dude,
watch
favorite
any
anime?
I don't
television.
watch any anime, bro. I've seen like the Pokemon anime, like
I guess that's your default answer.
there we go. That's my answer.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I mean, I still like Naruto. It's what got me into anime. So I think still have I think I've seen what I've better quality anime is still out there. One of the best.
For me, definitely JoJo's. Where is it? Right here. JoJo.
That's like
Nice.
There we go.
JoJo's
JoJo,
is like
definitely.
thousands of episodes, right? That's the one.
Is it
JoJo?
thousands?
No.
I think
I
that
don't think
was
it's that long.
no,
JoJo's like
no, that's
150
Bleach.
something.
Oh, what am I thinking?
Not
of?
One
Bleach.
Piece?
One Piece.
Yeah,
One Piece is
Sorry,
like
One
1,000
Piece.
That's what I'm
episodes.
thinking
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
It's over 1,000 now. It's crazy. Nobody's that. I don't know. I wanted to challenge myself to actually watch through that, like start from scratch. But
Dude, I've
My
watched...
so
I
much
decided is like on a lot of those that animes that are like like millions of episodes long. What I've decided what I would do is I would just read the manga
Mhm.
because reading manga is so much faster. There's no filler, and it just goes way faster than watching even without filler. And then if I read something like, oh, I really want to see that animated, I'll watch like the arc of the anime for that. Like because I feel like that's just a way better use of my time than sitting there and watching like 1,000 episodes of One Piece. And reading the 1,000 chapters would go significantly faster, but I would still get all the same story.
I do
for the most
somewhat
part.
agree with that, especially once they get beyond 300 episodes. It's like you have to figure out what you're going to do there. Because
Yeah.
if it's like 300 episodes and below, those are just a commitment episode, like a commitment.
Yeah, no, that's not
series.
bad. Like
It's
JoJo's
not
like that.
terrible.
JoJo's like
Yeah.
100, like pushing 200 now with season 5, but
Yeah.
like
Meanwhile,
that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, the 12 episode ones are just like, I could do this in a few hours and then forget all
Yeah.
about it
There are some-
afterwards.
there are some good 12 hours though, and then like they don't have a season 2 or they cancel it. I'm just like super upset.
They're just manga trailers, man. That's their purpose.
Yes.
No, 100%.
Oh, okay. My answer would be probably Death Note because I think that was the first anime that I ever watched, and I fell in love with it. I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but I would have to go with that. And yeah, next question. So this is leg day or core day. You got to choose one of the two. What do you prefer?
Core day.
Core day. Oh my god, you monster. Alex, do you have a preference?
My workout knowledge is minimal. I just do the treadmill sometimes. So I guess legs,
So you
even though
guess
it's technically
legs.
cardio, but I'm walking. I guess legs.
You're walking
I don't know.
You know-
I'm walking, so
Alex, you stole my answer, man. I don't know. Like, what? Like, I don't know. If I go to the gym though, I am running, so I
Gotcha.
guess it's got to be the same, man.
Okay. I gotta say leg day just because it's the most fun I have lifting weights apart from like arms. I just hate core usually. I get sick of it and it's always the thing that I skip the quickest if I'm trying to work out consistently. So yeah. Eating out or cooking yourself?
Eating out, but eating out definitely. I mean, I can cook, but like outside food is way better usually.
I'm
Yeah,
learning a
man,
lot
like-
right now.
Like,
Larkin, your answer's obvious. I already know you don't. know how
dude,
to cook.
I mean, I hated cooking in college. I'm not
Uh-huh.
going back. Like, I don't know. Yeah, no, eating out, of course.
Gotcha. What about you, Alex?
well, same with Larkin. I don't really know cooking. Not something I've been particularly good at. Like every time I made pasta in college, everybody always told me it was terrible. Even though all I did was just boil pasta. I don't know how I messed it up, but apparently I did. But so I'm gonna go with the third option, which is ordering in, because I get
Ordering in,
the good food of eating out, but I could be comfortable at home.
Gotcha.
I don't have to worry
But
about
you
leaving the
gotta-
house.
But like, I like restaurants that have really nice atmospheres. There's some nice ones because I feel like sometimes if you're just like, if I'm just ordering on Uber Eats or something, like I'll usually get something cheap because like then like it always is like 20 or 25% more because like
Yeah.
they charge an absurd fees, and I'm like, okay. And then like if I go out, I usually like eating out with friends rather than eating out by myself.
Yeah, well, that's what
So,
I figured
like-
the question was, if like a by yourself thing. If it's for people,
Yeah,
obviously I'm not
right.
ordering. I'd rather go out with a bunch of people as opposed to let's just all order in.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I have like.
I was referring to like just in general the food itself, not the
Well,
cluster of people that you're
then
with.
eating out.
Oh. Oh,
Really?
I mean,
Eating
come
out is
on.
always going to be high quality than what I make. Apparently,
I have made some pretty good, but it's usually like probably like chicken and like a rice dish, and that's it. So like usually it's like fried chicken and rice, but sometimes I make it really well, and then I like it a lot. But then I can't make it the same way every time. That's always bad.
Interesting.
Like
I guess I'm the only
consistency is
one that
not there.
likes eating my own food. I don't know. That's very
Albert,
curious.
I don't mind eating my own food. It's just that if everybody else is telling me it's terrible, it's like, what am I putting in my mouth? If I think it's good, but like everybody else is like, this tastes terrible.
Mhm.
It's like, why am I even bothering? You know, I'm the only one that's going to eat it.
Right.
What if I can't make food for other people?
I mean, I also have been making different things. Like I don't make the same stuff very often, which adds a lot more interest because I just like the general idea of making your own food because you know what you're eating.
Yes.
And like you probably also think about it a bit more, I feel like. Whereas when I eat out, I'm just like, I'll eat some McDonald's. I just not think about it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. I mean, I would like to learn how to cook. I will probably do it at some point, but while I'm currently living at home and every day my mom is still like just gonna make food for everybody.
Mhm.
Like she's very big on like the family dinner.
Right.
So it's not like every man for himself. She just makes food for us. So like I have no reason, like no ability to learn right now. Not like I can't cook. Can't even like cook dinner because my mom has complete control of the kitchen.
I mean, you had
during
5
that time.
years before that, dude.
Okay, you know what?
You had time.
West Side Dining got me through in Subway.
I think that's what living. I feel like, dorming and like living by myself for a couple of months really helped me, I guess, learn those adulting skills.
Right.
Because I feel like now that I'm here, now that I'm back here, like my mom cooks and my dad cooks, and like I have less motivation to cook because I don't want to cook if I don't have to.
Exactly.
So I don't have to. Unless it's like a small thing where I'll make rice or I'll fry an egg or whatever. I don't really cook big things here because my parents cook. And a nice hack is like order health for like accounts, and then you'll get those recipes. You can remake those recipes by yourself, like afterward, because you have the recipe cards. Right. Very easy. Some very nice dishes. So.
I mean, I just kind of throw things into a pan and see what happens. I make similar things. I don't know. Like my fried rice isn't great, but I think it tastes like good for me. And like I'll just add different veggies every time I make that stuff and like see if it tastes good. And it normally does. They're just vegetables. They're not going to taste bad unless you like put in some like bad veggies. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting because I guess also just because I've tried like different things at this point where I'm like, it'll taste fine. I can eat it, and I normally like the food that I'm making. So like just comparatively to going out and eating food, like afterwards, after I eat food out, a lot of the time I'm just like, I don't feel great. I don't know. And especially in comparison to the food that I make at home. I think it's just like, I don't know if it's always it's not always healthier, I feel like, because I'll just eat snacks as well. Like I'm not always eating like a fantastically delicious and healthy meal, but when I do that, it's like compared to whatever I choose to eat, which is typically like a burger because I love burgers. And those are typically like gourmet burgers or like fancy burgers. When you have those, they're not as healthy as like whatever you're making at home. So like 2 hours later, you're just like, what did I just put in my body? So there's definitely that element for me. So I've always just enjoyed cooking, and I enjoy it more now that I am doing it without also being in school. Because when you're in school and you're meal prepping, you're just like breading some chicken, putting it in there, and you're like, this will last me a week. I'm not going to get sick of chicken tomorrow, and then you get sick of chicken the next day. Right. So, I mean, like I made soup for the first time this week, and that was so nice. It was delicious, and I'm probably going to make several more soups until I don't love them anymore. And it's just going to be like it's like a rotation now where it's like I have different things that I can make. I haven't made curry since before I left college. So I'm going to make some now because my parents just gave me one of the ingredients I needed for fish curry. Like they just shipped it to me. So it's like a rotating window of things where it's just fun to like re-experience. Like I learned how to make samosas earlier this summer, and that was really cool too. So
that was your favorite meal, as we found out.
Yeah.
There we go.
So now we know. So now we know where we need to go if we're in the Seattle area. We'll stay over. We'll stay over at Albert's.
Party at Albert's.
Mimosas. Yeah. Oh my god.
I'll just be nonstop cooking while you guys are here.
Let's go.
We won't even have conversations. I'll just be in the kitchen.
That's what I like to hear.
Excellent.
These are very interesting rapid fire questions, considering they're not rapid fire at all.
I
was going to mention that at some point. I was like, aren't these supposed to be rapid fire questions? But I was like, let's let Albert finish his thought.
Right.
Let's keep going.
Okay. Top book that you're on your reading list.
You mean like I haven't read it yet?
Either you're reading it or you're about to read it or you want to read it. Like the top book that you're thinking.
Oh yeah, let me check my bookshelf actually.
Yeah, I should probably do that too. Actually, I gotta go to my closet. Hold on.
Rapid fire, guys. What's happening?
I don't remember. I don't read.
You read?
I'm looking for To the Winds of Winter. If George R. Martin can finish it.
Oh, okay, but that book's not even out yet. I mean, okay, I guess.
Yes, I want to read it. It has a spot. As soon as it comes out, I'm buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm probably not gonna be able to find a hardcover because it'll sell out.
Right.
But I'll buy the Kindle.
dude, if Winds of Winter ever comes out,
no,
it's gonna sell out.
It will sell out immediately. But also, we're never getting the sequel. It's never happening.
Isn't that guy like 80?
Something
he looks
like that.
very old.
He is old.
I think he's lost weight over COVID.
Oh my.
That I don't know. I just know
he's becoming healthier.
Years.
It's good. He's gonna live longer.
But it's been 20 years.
Okay.
It's been like 20 years since the last book or whatever. So I don't know.
No, it's been like 10. It's like 2010.
Didn't he just recently say he was like 80% done with it or something? I thought I saw people talk about that.
Dude, he's like that every year. He puts out a tweet being like, the book's coming out this year, and then he erases half the book and starts over.
He's a perfectionist. I gotta respect that.
He is a perfectionist, yeah. But like, also like the way he writes is like he goes to the middle of the woods and writes on a typewriter, like, and then he doesn't actually like write.
Wait,
yes,
you're not joking. You're not.
He doesn't
joking.
use a computer. It's 2022.
He uses like an old-timey typewriter. That's how he writes his scripts, and then he gives it to his editor, and then like the editor was like, "This is like
That's insane."
Yeah,
that's like one of those like crazy quirks you can only get away with if you're like massive. If you're an enormous,
he's like
if you're a really famous writer.
Yes.
He's a multi-millionaire.
Psycho.
Right. You can do whatever you want.
He's also making money off of the adaptations of his work anyway, so he doesn't have like, that looming over his head.
Right.
He's just doing a million other projects too. Like, didn't he just worked on that game Elden Ring? Apparently, I heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He just wrote for that. Like, he's not even doing the thing that people want him to do. He's just doing a bunch of other projects.
That's all he needs to do.
I mean, Albert, you tell me you weren't satisfied by the ending of Game of Thrones?
I was not. Not the TV show.
I haven't even watched it. I just know the ending was terrible, so I will never watch it.
The ending was terrible. The ending was terrible is because the directors and the producers didn't know how to like write like him.
They
like after they went past the books.
Yeah. However,
they kind of were like mashing things together.
I was fine through season 7. The issue with season 8 is it's like 3 or 4 seasons mashed into 10 episodes. And
because they rushed it because they wanted to do their Star Wars project.
Yes. But didn't they get fired?
And then Game of Thrones sucked that they got the Star Wars project got fired. They fired from that because Game of Thrones sucked.
Yes, of course. They got fired. And like because people were like at the beginning they were like really hailed as really good producers and stuff because they did a really good adaptation. But then like when they actually got to writing the last part, and like there's so many inconsistencies with the other story, with like the plot of compared to the book in the last few seasons, because like even the author said like the ending from in the book is gonna be somewhat different. So like it's like why even watch the TV show? Like I care about the actual canon ending, which is gonna be the book. The TV show is not the canon.
Right.
I
don't really care about it that much though, because I've only read one book in like the first book in the last 2 years. I bought a box set of all of them for Christmas once, and it's been 2 years now, and I read the first book.
The books are kind of challenging. It's really long books. I think the last book was like 1,300 or shit like that. It's like,
well, the thing was,
a lot.
I read book 1 and I'm like, do I need to read book 2 right now? When's the next one coming out? There's no urgency here, so I don't know. Anyway,
are there 3 books?
No, there are 5 books out right now. And then
I think that there's 5.
And then also Targaryen.
I did buy like the Atlas stuff. I'm a big fan.
Nice.
Give me a sec. This is so nice. This is a nice book, though.
Yeah, it's a nice.
Such a nice cover.
While you do that, though, other answers.
I was gonna say, this is supposed to be rapid fire.
I got a book. I haven't read it yet. Oh wait, it's backward. Whatever. It's What We Owe the Future. It's a philosophy text.
Dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's forward for us. Yeah.
Oh, it's backwards for me. That's so strange. What the hell?
Forward for me.
Whatever. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it's mirrored for you, like for your own video. I guess they.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Anyway, it's a philosophy text. I haven't started reading it at all. Mm-hmm. It's next on my reading list after I'm currently reading on my Kindle, The Man in the High Castle. I think there was like a show adaptation, but basically it's an alternate history where Germany.
The show was pretty good.
Yeah, was it pretty good? Okay, yeah.
I think my dad watched that, but he said the show was pretty good.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll give it a watch. I mean, I've been reading through the book.
I didn't even know it was a book. I just heard my dad talk about the show.
But
the ending was kind of confusing for me. I kind of left on a cliffhanger, so I don't know if like the book.
Spoilers. I'm only 80% of the way through the book, but anyway, yeah. So I'm reading through that right now, and it's okay. But I'm really looking forward to this book. I think the premise of the book is basically like, how can we reframe our like present day philosophy in the context of human civilization as it is right now being like the starting point. Like what if we are the first 1% or like the first 0.01% of human beings, and sort of how can we frame how we act today in a way that will most positively benefit all of human civilization if we take the thesis that we are at the start.
Interesting.
So I thought it was really, really fascinating concept. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try to get through this as soon as I finish Man in the High Castle, which it's a wild book. I don't know how they did it in a TV show. Honestly, probably a bit better. The writer is a little off kilter. He kind of goes on random tangents, and the like. It's strangely like the English is kind of like not perfect grammar wise. Like the writer. This is now I'm just going on a tangent of my current book, but. Some of the writing is
I guess we've
kind
given
of
up on rapid fire.
whatever. Anyway, like it's like imagine you were trying to write a quick synopsis of a given chapter, and then you forgot to replace it with the actual chapter you're going to write. You know, like that's what it feels like reading some of the chapters in Man in the High Castle. Okay. So I assume obviously if you're going to do a TV show adaptation, it'll be much more smooth and fluid. But reading it really feels like I'm reading like a crazy script that some guy like a draft that somebody blew off in an afternoon, and like words are missing, and
is the author like native English, or like was it
That's
written by?
That's a good question, actually. Is it a translation? I don't know.
It could be a translation.
Man in the High Castle book. Let's see. That would explain a lot.
I mean, I don't know much about books, but I mean, if it's not, I feel like usually they're pretty. I feel like they'd be a stickler for having perfect grammar.
Philip K. Dick does not sound like a. Oh, it does sound like an English speaker. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I think he's just he's an American science fiction writer. I have no idea what's up.
So
with
he's just
this
a
guy.
crazy person.
He just writes very strangely. I don't know. Maybe it was the moment of the times. But anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm reading right now. Bam, rapid fire.
Alex.
Beautiful. I don't do a crazy amount of reading. It's something I do want to do more of. I mean, besides, I read like I'm currently reading through a couple mangas and stuff. Nothing crazy, but in terms of like actual novels, the one I would on my reading list,
I
the top
didn't
of my reading list,
specify
probably
novels, by the way. You could have just said a manga.
obviously, I mean, I guess. Okay, I mean, then at the top of my reading list for manga is I really want to go back and read One Punch Man because all my friends are telling me it's gotten really good. Like, it's amazing right now. And I'm like, I haven't caught up with it since season 2 sucked. So
Season 2 did suck.
So I was like, and now apparently season 3 of the anime is coming out soon. So like I was like, I guess now's the time to catch up before the anime comes back out. And then like in terms of novels, like I have like maybe half a dozen Star Wars novels sitting in my closet that I have yet to read. So obviously all those are at the top of my reading list as well.
Gotcha.
But rapid fire, I'm done. Wrap it up.
I am reading Good Omens right now. I just started it. I first heard about this because there was I think an Amazon show or something like that came out a few years ago.
Wait, is that by Terry Pratchett? Wait a second.
It's by Neil Gaiman and one other person.
Oh, Neil Gaiman, I see.
Oh yeah, Terry Pratchett is the first name on the
yeah.
list. Yeah, so there's
I've
two
heard
writers. I found out about this just because I knew David Tennant played the demon in the story. And that was why I first heard about the show. And then, since it was a Gaiman creation, and
that's the guy who does the Sandman, right?
Yeah. So I really like his Sandman world so far from what I've read. So I thought it would be cool to try and see what his take on a novel format would be instead. He also has American Gods, which I need to read at some point, but I have too many other books that are already purchased.
I've read that, and it's fantastic.
Oh,
I would
really? Really?
Yep.
Maybe check out the show, because there is a show for American Gods as well that I don't know how many seasons it's got, but it was out a few years ago.
Sure.
But yeah, Good Omens is really good, and I've been enjoying it so far. It is quite a few characters. I've never really read many books apart from Game of Thrones where there's so many different characters, like a good amount, where it's like I have to remember everything. I also haven't read stories in a very long time, so it's been interesting to at least like start the book so far, and I'm excited to continue on with it. Yeah. The next is pumpkin spice versus hot cocoa in terms of like flavoring / what you prefer.
I mean, I'm not much of a coffee person, so I don't usually buy Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, so more of a hot cocoa person, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion.
I'm also for hot cocoa.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're going 3 for 3 on this one, guys.
We're 4 for 4. I also love hot cocoa.
Oh my god.
We are
coffee drinkers.
Right.
We are unique among.
You can have pumpkin spice tea. I think there are other pumpkin spice flavored things, but like
pumpkin spice tea is not as good.
I just don't love the flavoring of pumpkin spice in general. I like pumpkin pie, but apart from that, I haven't had much pumpkin flavored things.
Pumpkin pie. Yeah, wait, could we do rapid fire pie flavors as well? Because pumpkin pie is my numero uno.
Pumpkin pie would be my favorite too, just because I haven't had many types, and I don't love. Okay. I've had peach and I've had apple, and I don't typically love pies. Oh, pecan would be my second as well. Pecan is delicious.
Interesting.
Pecan pie is really good. I'm not really a pie person, but
me neither.
I've had pecan pie. Pecan pie is good.
Yeah, I only have pie for Thanksgiving, really. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much pie. We're not a pie family, really.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of consume less sugar.
Right.
That's also fair.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I just ate a jar of candy yesterday.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been eating candy. I bunch of all the leftover Halloween candy, like a little bit every day.
I had no trick or treaters, so I still have candy. It's great, but also terrible at the same time because I shouldn't be eating this much candy. I have a stomach ache right now. I'm pretty sure it's because of the candy I ate.
Oh
yesterday.
man,
that's okay.
That's a classic. That's
a whole other thing. Best part of fall. Your favorite part?
Falling leaves.
Falling leaves. Okay.
And like right now, like especially if you drive on like Long Island Express or Grand Central down toward Long Island, the trees makes really nice covering and like the leaves falling. It's really pretty.
Nice.
I need to go out to a park for everything, all the leaves fall. So yeah, that's
Alex?
fun.
Best part of fall. The nights are longer, so when I wake up at 12 p.m., I don't feel as bad.
That is
Yo.
fantastic.
Based answer. Absolutely based.
That is a
No,
top
yeah.
tier answer. Right there.
I mean, I gotta say, for me, it's the temperature change. And this also applies to spring as well.
Mhm.
In autumn, after a summer of 70s, 80s degrees days every day, all day long, it's rough. You know, you're sweating every day. I don't like being sweaty in the office. I don't like it at all. Terrible. But now we have like 45 degree, 55 degree, hopefully soon, although today's 70, whatever.
Mhm.
You know, global warming, Lamau. But yeah, I really like this like 50-degree weather sort of period where you can wear a sweatshirt and it's kind of comfortable. You're not sweating just by walking down the street.
It's
That's
70
really
where
nice.
you're at. It's 45 for me.
It is
It's been warm in New
73
York
out right now.
Yeah, it's been warm. It's been like summer weather.
What is happening? Anyway.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, so yeah, absolutely love the temperature change. It's really, really refreshing to get some of that cooler air. Same thing with springtime though. Exact same answer. In reverse, like after a winter of freezing your ass off at 20, 30-degree weather, and then you suddenly get hit with that that first spring day you get where it's
yeah, it's
really
just
warm out.
It's a little warmer, but like it feels
It's
a lot
just
warmer.
a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's only like 55, but it feels like it could be 70 out.
Right.
You know.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
I love that feeling. It does feel like a transition period. I really like it a lot. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like not have to wear like 5 different layers and just wearing one sweater and like
True.
walk
Yeah.
out.
Shedding
It's
shedding
really-
those layers
Uh-huh.
feels so good. Yeah.
also not. I mean, same thing as like not having to be sweltering and also super humid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will say spooky season is my favorite part. The close second would be Thanksgiving, so we still have that going for us. I just really
Oh.
enjoy like skeletons and like the like. I don't love scary films, but I just like the decor and the theme of things like that. So it's pretty.
Did you,
Well,
did you
Albert,
dress up?
I mean,
I dressed up as Batman.
Did
Did
you
you
dress-
not see my Instagram picture?
Wow,
with
you don't follow?
Prangon?
You don't look at his
Wow.
Instagram posts?
Wow, do you
I
not
don't-
use
I-
Instagram?
I'm
oh,
not-
Albert on Instagram? That's outrageous.
Larkin doesn't
Everybody
have
on
an
the
Instagram.
planet follows Albert on Instagram.
I don't do social media, so yeah.
Oh, did you delete all your accounts and stuff?
God.
Yeah, I only have Facebook because I keep up with people. So
I thought
Honestly,
you were
that's for the
you were
better, no
talking
social
about
media.
TikTok earlier. Have you been
But
lying
how-
this entire time? What's going
But
on?
how-
I mean, only YouTube Shorts. I think
Okay,
whatever. It's like, but half the TikTok content just gets posted there anyways.
that is true.
Yeah.
I removed TikTok from my phone because it was warping my entire life. So,
I just never made a
Yes.
TikTok to begin with.
okay.
Smart man.
Yeah. See, but they do it.
See, I
Also, I
downloaded
took
it
my
because I
ban from
wanted
the
to
country.
create content, and then I just got sucked in to like
The
not-
algorithm.
just consuming content instead.
Albert, you can still do
Albert
YouTube
got
Shorts.
bamboozled by the
Let's
algorithm.
go.
I can still do YouTube Shorts. I don't
Dude,
really.
Albert-
I haven't delved
Albert
into it yet.
Albert Shorts are gonna pop up. Dude, you could do like a time lapse like drawing or so. I don't know.
I have
That's
a
not a
going
bad
off.
idea.
drawing coming out tomorrow. Actually,
Time lapse
That's
drawing like as a
5-minute
YouTube
video.
short.
Yeah. But that's a short.
But like
I don't
smaller
know.
drawings, you could do like a
Could be a
1 minute
thing.
time lapse and make it a short.
Yeah,
True.
it's just
That would be cool.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I have a big piece, the dragon mantelpiece that I have, coming out tomorrow, and it's like a 5-minute video. But anyway,
Right.
last and final question for rapid fire in quotation marks. Now,
The slowest
'cause-
rapid fire questions of all time.
Yes. Favorite Thanksgiving food?
Ooh.
Oh, we don't really do turkey. Like turkey is terrible.
It is
As a
terrible.
meat-
Why would you buy it?
It's a terrible meat.
It's horrible.
We usually, yes, I don't know how people buy turkey. And, consume it.
Mhm.
It's like worse than chicken. We usually get duck.
Wait. You don't
And-
like chicken?
No. I said it's a worse version of chicken.
Oh,
okay.
I think you said worse than chicken.
That's what I heard
yeah.
too. I heard worse
Chicken
than
is
chicken.
like the shit standard, and then
Yeah. It sounded
Yeah, that's how I
like you were
No.
saying chicken
No,
was bad
yeah.
as well.
Chicken-
Okay.
chicken is like the average, and then like that's like everything tastes like
Right,
chicken,
right,
and then you
right.
determine if it's better or worse.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, all right.
Okay.
Right. So we usually get duck because the skin can get really crispy. It's really nice. So we'll probably get duck again. Yeah, duck meat. Yeah, I think duck meat is can become a lot more flavorful than like regular chicken. We also usually get it from a poultry place, so like it's like it was cut in the morning.
Oh, so you have like a butcher you go to?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I mean we just put it back in the fridge. So I don't know how my parents just like don't go every day.
Uh-huh.
They're like, okay, we'll just buy for like a month. But it's like right there. So they could walk to the butcher and get fresh meat every day.
Yeah, why not just get it fresh every day?
Yeah.
Why stockpile a month of it and just freeze
I
it?
have an anecdote associated with that, but I don't. I'll say it after, because
All right.
it's rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Alex, go
Hit
ahead.
us, Alex.
Cornbread. My mom makes a mad good cornbread like pudding. Top tier for sure.
Yes, cornbread. I was gonna say cornbread as well, although I also have two other ones. Kind of.
Okay.
Also, we already mentioned pie, but yeah, cornbred is so good. My
Cornbread's
God.
mad good.
Mhm.
And like, especially when it's warm. Oh my. So good. Yes, I'm 100% with you. Also, the other one is cranberry sauce. I don't know if you guys have cranberry
I'm
sauce.
not a big cranberry
I
saucer.
disagree.
Dude, I love cranberry sauce. Oh my God.
My mom
it's
does
so good.
too. She's the only one that gets it. Like we used to get it just for her, but it'd always be too much just for her.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Cranberry sauce, no.
Damn.
No, you're no.
Haters,
Larkin, you're in the
bro.
minority here.
All right, it's all more for me,
That is true.
True.
I just really like stuffing. It's just a solid aspect of Christmas. Or
Stuffing
not
is good.
Christmas, Thanksgiving. I just really enjoy it.
Yeah.
There are other things there too, but that's always the thing that I'm like, okay, I'll just keep eating this for multiple days in a row, and it's gonna be nice. But yeah, my anecdote was that earlier this year, after I first got here, my PM, he has a bunch of chickens that he has. And I think did I mention this to you, Larkin?
You told me this.
Yeah. So he had a bunch of extra male chickens, and you're only supposed to have one, in terms of the ones that he raised from like egg to like full adulthood or whatever. So he had to cull them, as he called it, right? He had a chicken culling, and he invited several individuals, including myself, to join in on this endeavor. So I have officially taken the life of a chicken, and it was a very interesting experience.
How'd that make you feel? What'd you do? Did you like snap the neck?
You don't snap their neck. You slice it. You slice their neck.
You slice their neck?
Yeah.
I know people. Apparently, it's like real easy just to do that. I've heard.
Yeah.
Break
The
the neck
issue
like
with
that.
that though is it makes it more difficult if you like rip the head off essentially to skin them afterwards. So
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a very interesting experience. It was a lot of fun as well.
I wouldn't describe this as
interesting.
fun.
It was very intriguing, dude. It was. Really
I just
fun.
had so much fun murdering chickens.
I only took out one, man. We didn't have
Murdering chicken.
It was very interesting. It was a very interesting experience.
Did you eat the chicken? Did you eat the chicken?
So no, the actual like meat, he was just packing for his freezer. It was more just like the experience. We did get.
He didn't give you food?
No. But that was fine. That was fine. I don't think that was an issue. He has an actual family to feed. Okay, we were just like a couple single individuals coming in, man.
Yeah, but yeah, it's so weird. Just like
you killed. That's so much.
Yeah, it's like it's so weird. It's like, oh guys, just let's
and kill
just murder.
chickens.
Yeah. Like
he
what
had
the fuck?
to do it that day anyway, and he was just seeing if anyone wanted to like see what it was like. But I just found it was really fun. It was a very interesting and like enjoyable experience. Just to have that in the past, and I really liked that. What I will say is he did give us like some of the innards if we wanted them, so I grabbed the chicken hearts, which was pretty cool.
The innards.
Yeah.
Yes. Yummy.
Yeah.
Oh my
delicious.
Chicken gizzards are actually really good. You can
they're
get them
delicious.
pretty cheaply at the grocery, and you can like fry them up or like toss them in. So it's pretty good.
That is true.
They're much more flavorful.
He gave us each a dozen eggs or something because he just produces so many eggs each week that him and his
How many
family
chickens
can't
does he
eat.
have?
Dude, I didn't count them. There were too many for me to count.
Really?
Yeah, he
Wow.
has like a fairly large like pen type of thing, like a
Mhm.
fenced in area for them, and
Live in the middle of where?
he lives here in Olympia, like just north of like the actual main Olympia area, where it's like I forget how many acres he has. I think it's like 6 acres or something like that. But it's like very dense woods, and he has a bunch of different animals. Right now, he has I believe he has like 2 ducks, 2 cats, a dog, these chickens. So he got quite a few animals. Before that, he lived in a brownstone in I think Queens or Brooklyn or something for a few years. So once they moved out here a year and a half ago, they kind of went the opposite direction, so that him and his family, his kids, would have like a lot more space and stuff. So and then they also ended up getting like a bunch of animals on top of that. So it was pretty cool. Like he has a very nice property and stuff. It was a very cool time. Yeah.
Interesting.
See, when we get to that age, we'll be able to afford, that kind of property, and it's not just like multi-dollar 200 square foot apartments, right?
Dude, we gotta start looking for places within the next 5 years to see what's gonna happen.
No,
You know?
yeah. I do want to buy a house before I'm 30.
Mhm.
So I am buying a car next year. So,
I have a car.
well,
kind
I
of
want to buy a new car. I already have a car. I just want a new car.
Oh yeah, I got a used car just because I needed something to be here. So my dad ended up buying one for me, and then I'm just paying him back right now.
Uh-huh.
And then
Oh, gosh.
and then the company had it shipped over to me because he bought it in New York after I'd already moved. So
Why didn't you just buy in Washington?
because
Yeah, why not just buy a car in
I
Olympia?
didn't want to Uber over to like several different dealers and pay for that while also knowing nothing and being like, this is the price. I don't know how to haggle. Like, what? And I didn't know anyone either that well, and no one really seemed to be like car aficionados as far as I could tell from those brief interactions that I had had with them. So I was like, hey, should I drag someone who knows barely more than me to this and like just Uber around everywhere? Like it wouldn't have been cost effective or
I mean,
anything. So yeah.
it was nice. It was nice of your company to help have it shipped out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily it was very close to when I moved here. It was like really close. It was like a month after I had moved, and I asked just to double check, and they were kind enough because they typically will ship it anyway. It's just I didn't have a car initially, and I wasn't initially planning to purchase one because I was going to live in Lacey, which is a smaller town type of area where I could have just walked to get my groceries, but for some reason, for whatever reason, there are reasons, that spot ended up having more time for construction, so they weren't ready when I thought they would be. So I just found another spot that was bigger and around the same price point. The issue was it was all residents. There was no shops in the area that I can just walk to, so I needed a car at that point. So that's kind of how that ended up happening.
Yeah, I think like if you get out of areas like New York City and stuff, kind of need a car in America. It's like how our system is just built. You need a car to get around.
Do not have
Yeah,
walkable cities.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where I was in Maryland, it was like I could go to my grocery store like walk back, but it was still like, but it was like not the nicest time. Like everyone just drove around anyway. It's also more expensive to be in the walkable areas too. Just
Right.
like not fun.
That is true. By the way, so just to double check, so Prangon, where in New York are you living now? Because I know your parents moved to a house a few years ago. Where?
Yeah, I'm in Queens.
You're in Queens. Larkin, are you in Queens too?
I'm also in Queens. Hey,
Okay.
let's go.
Yay!
Yeah.
Woo.
Alex, we don't even need to know where you are. Don't ask. Just don't tell.
Somewhere in Long Island.
He's on Staten Island.
Staten
Unfortunately.
Oh, I was in Staten Island the other day. Went to Snug Harbor, the botanical garden.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've been there. It's nice over there.
It was super.
I am actually curious. Are there things on Staten Island to do? I didn't know.
Yes.
I've never,
Yes, there's
I've
a
never
mall.
bothered checking.
They have a mall.
Albert, you would know if you would show up to one of my Casa de Cubas.
Dude,
you would know.
I was gone. I couldn't do it this year.
Don't be gone next time.
And I also the first one I didn't know it happened until after it happened. Okay.
What was your excuse for the second one?
The second one, what was I doing last year? I don't remember. What did I do last year?
Albert on fire here.
Was I around
on trial?
last year?
What were you doing last summer, 2021? What were you doing?
He was doing.
Yeah, Albert.
Was that when I went on that road trip with my family to Florida? I don't recall. It was that one. I don't remember if I was around or not.
Well, be around for the fourth
Classic.
one. The fourth one next summer. Yeah,
Next summer,
we'll see
probably.
what happens.
Be around, Albert.
It depends on if I'm here in Washington or not.
Albert's the West Coast.
But yes, there is stuff to do on Staten Island.
Uh-huh.
We have a zoo, we have a mall, we have botanical
There's
gardens.
a zoo? Wow.
Yeah.
They cleaned
Staten
up
Island Zoo.
The trash.
The trash is irrelevant. That was closed like 20 years ago. I don't know why people still bring this up. They've been turning it into a park. We can go to the park.
That'd be interesting.
It's surprisingly full of nature.
Okay.
Like it's very different from some of the other boroughs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is like a suburb. It's not like all the other boroughs where it's skyscrapers and skyscrapers. It's just this one's just
Well,
houses.
Queens is like once you get past like Astoria and
That's
Jackson
true.
Heights, it's all like houses. So
By
Not
the
true.
way,
Well, Staten Island's all like that across the entire island.
I gotta mention, everyone here keeps talking about Hawaiian pizzas, and I don't know how I feel about this right now because
Rapid fire?
my
Rapid fire?
response keeps
Let's
being
go.
like, I cannot. It's not in my DNA because I'm in New
Well,
York.
this is just another point against the West Coast.
It's
if
okay.
anything.
Albert, you
It's
will
okay.
you will see the light eventually.
Uh-huh.
it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad taste, but I'm not actively going to look for it.
As an
But
Italian,
because-
it offends me.
Uh-huh.
Hey, speak for yourself. Honestly, okay, I'm gonna offend everybody. I think my favorite type of pizza is Hawaiian pizza.
That's literally the worst take of all
Hold
time.
on.
Isn't that the one?
At
That's the
my
one with
Literally
pineapple,
worse,
right?
job-
Actually
at my
amazing.
job, the first day in call with the state agency that we work with, the
Yeah.
first question that they asked me was Hawaiian pizza. And
You better have said no.
I said no. And
Good.
and they ask this to every new person. Their thoughts on Hawaiian pizza because many of them enjoy Hawaiian pizza and I'm concerned.
What is wrong with West Coasters?
It's
There's something wrong with them.
like for American culture, it's like one of the most divisive, like trivial questions out there. You know, like
Yeah.
you either
wasn't
love it or
even
you
made
hate
by
it. And
Hawaiians.
there's very little in between. It wasn't
It was
even
invented
made
by a
Hawaiians.
Canadian.
Right.
That's even better. That's amazing. I didn't know that. That's so
It was
funny.
invented by a
Yeah.
Canadian. He just put
Uh-huh.
pineapple on a pizza. They called it Hawaiian pizza.
That's
Hawaiian
really funny.
pizza.
That's really,
Yeah.
really funny.
Doesn't that? Wait, is that the one with pineapple as the topping?
Yeah, pineapple's the
Yeah,
Hawaiian.
topping, and
Sometimes
it has, like,
ham on it, too, does it not?
Well, yeah. Pineapple and
Yeah.
ham.
Pineapple
It's
and
so
ham.
good. I
Canadian
really
bacon.
I have to
Canadian
stress,
bacon.
dude.
No. I've never eaten
Like-
it, and I never will eat it because it offends me as an
the-
Italian.
The sweet pineapple flavor really enhances
No.
the pizza.
Yeah,
I
It
don't know.
does.
I
It
don't know.
does. It does. I mean,
No.
if you've had like El Pastor tacos, and like you could have seen like the ones in California where they put the meat and also pineapple. The sweetness actually brings a unique taste to it. And I mean, I think that this is like, you know, when you make that kind of pizza, you're not trying to be authentic to Italian food.
Yeah, you're
And
trying
at that
to be
point, it's more-
sacrilegious on purpose.
Exactly.
No,
and
you're trying to.
You're purposefully trying to create a
Your
sin.
purpose.
in the
Yeah,
eyes
exactly.
of
You
the
are
I think
world.
it still
purposefully
tastes
sinning.
good. I would lock here. I think it still tastes good. You don't have to decide. Usually other options, but like I don't like straight pepperoni or like there's like a bunch
Really?
of meat top.
My go-to
Yeah,
has
yeah.
always
I
been straight
prefer-
pepperoni because I just love. I
I
just
prefer.
I agree.
I prefer
Yeah.
cheese. I prefer cheese.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, this man right here. Yeah, cheese. The
Cheese
pineapple
is
on
good.
pizza enhances it. The pepperonis, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Don't get me wrong. but
It
it's
seems like
overrated.
this is a very divisive
out there.
topic among this group.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Pizza
I
toppings.
just always loved pepperoni pizza, so I always
By the way,
it's
guys-
always my go-to.
But guys, the pizza, I guess, restaurant brands. Like, where do you get your pizza?
Oh, I see.
I live in New York, so just a local
Okay.
chain.
My
Why would I ever
favorite
get
Pizza Hut or,
that
like,
I've
Papa
had
John?
has been at Station Pizza.
Station Pizza's mad good.
It's
I have to agree.
really good.
It is
Is
really
that a
good.
chain? I've never heard of it.
No, it's a
right
local
off our
place by Stony
campus.
Brook.
Yeah, it's right off our campus.
I see. I
Their
see.
buffalo chicken pizza.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's
That's
really good.
one of the best pies I've ever had. Buffalo chicken pizza.
Guys,
So good.
this might be divisive, but Costco, it's a great bang for your buck pizza.
Okay.
What the?
Costco pizza.
Okay. Wait.
Oh,
To be fair, in terms of the price point and what you get, it is a good choice for that, right?
It's like
Oh.
$10.
That is a
It's
truth.
$10.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's huge.
Yes.
This pizza is huge, and it's like $10. It's great.
I can't do
I
this.
used to eat
I
Costco
can't.
pizza
It's
when
just
I was younger. It's a
Because
good,
it's just
it's a good
cheese.
pizza.
The cheese
It's
pizza.
fine.
Yeah,
if you just
yeah,
want
yeah.
something
It's a good
that's
cheese.
nice and at a cheap price point, sure. If you want a fantastic pizza, don't go to Costco. However, it is a good mediocre choice, right?
A
I mean,
good
I really don't-
mediocre. Can we
Yes.
just point out the
I mean-
oxymoron there? Good mediocre.
No,
But
Just say it's garbage.
it's
Just say
not.
it's garbage.
It's not though. It's
No,
not.
no.
If I want a pizza and I
know.
don't want to spend a lot of money, especially with inflation right now, okay, you can go to Costco and get a nice pie for yourself and your family. If you want
I mean, I
something
don't
that's
think-
really good, go to an actual pizzeria.
I'll go to an actual
Yeah,
pizzeria.
but when I usually think about pizza, like something, I usually don't think of it as a fancy food.
Mhm.
It's usually like a cheap,
True. Yeah.
you know, the cheap
Mhm.
dinner or whatever. For me, Costco, for what I'm getting for $10,
Yeah.
I feel it's worth it. Like, you could go to like Papa John's, Domino's, wherever, and you can get, you can't stay in
Right.
quality as you get at Costco for $10, and you can usually,
Yeah.
it's huge. It's like 18 inches or something. It is thick, and it's
Yeah.
so it's good.
It's
And you
thick
can usually
crust.
get it pretty, and because they're selling so quickly, the one you usually get is like basically right out of the oven. It's not been sitting there for
That's
like
pretty
an
nice, yeah.
hour. So I think it's like bang for your buck is really there. And I have tried some other pizza places in Manhattan. There's this artichoke pizza that's really good. I think last time it was like $5 a slice, probably $10 a slice now. But it's like this thick, and it was just like, but it wasn't like a Chicago style. It was just like it's just a lot of
wasn't deep
cheese and
dish?
stuff.
That's interesting.
No, but it's just like it's a New York style pizza, but it's like not thin. It has a lot of toppings and stuff, and it was like $5 a slice,
Mhm.
or probably more now with inflation and stuff. But it was really good. But it's like I wouldn't have that most likely for a family meal, because then it's like a $40 pizza that I'm buying,
Right.
and
So
I usually don't
I-
$40 on a pizza.
I guess this also goes back to the conversation from earlier, since I don't eat out very often. So when I eat pizza or when I go out and I'm not going to a fast food spot, I'm
Mhm.
okay with spending a little bit more. So like if I'm getting a pizza, it'll be at like a nicer pizzeria or
Yeah.
like a place where I'm like the food's really good for the price as well. Like it's fine if it's like generally more expensive than I would. But if I was eating out more often and I was eating like pizza more often, Costco would be a great spot to go to. Because it's better to me. It's better than other chains in terms of like
It's
generally
better than
speaking.
it's better than any nationwide chain. I think.
Yes, yeah,
You can fight over whether it's better than some of the individual stores and like Little India and stuff like that. But like in terms of if you want a food you
If
want it
just
to taste
want
the
a
same
meal,
whether you're
if you just want a meal,
you want a meal.
It's
Costco is like
Yeah.
you can get a meal for $1.50 at Costco, and
Yeah.
they're not making profit on it. They're not making profit on that because they're getting from the customers. They want you to buy all their
Right.
stuff.
Right.
And like for this, it's just like at this point, it's become a meme. It's like Costco had to basically like even inflation to not change the price of their
Mhm.
food items because they don't care. It's kind of like they don't. It's a way for them to get customers in the door it's not a way for them to make money. And I think
Right.
that's
Sure,
really
sure,
great.
yeah.
That's like in other places they are directly making money on the food.
Yeah.
And also like I've read
I would
Yeah.
buy that versus a $5 slice or a $5 slice of pizza in New York City, like a $4 slice in New York City. Because the last time I bought a slice in New York, it was $4, and I was like, this is pretty close to double what I paid for a slice the last time I purchased a slice of pizza. So at that point, if I can spend barely like maybe double that, right, like the amount for 2 to 3 slices and buy a full pie, and it's just me hanging out by myself, I would make that bet. Typically, if I'm hanging out with other people, I'll go to a real pizzeria. Like I would order station pizza or like an actual chain at that point. Or if I'm just like, oh, I need something that's actually like delicious, like my mouth will salivate over it, then I'll go out to get like an actual pizza. But if it's just like a random Tuesday and I'm like, I don't want to cook food and like I want something that's like fine and also not super expensive, Costco pizza is a good choice for you at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's and
Alex,
I
I
mean,
understand
yeah,
you're Italian, so you have a different
I'm an
opinion here.
Italian. This
Yeah.
really this whole conversation, I'm just sitting here in stunned silence.
it's okay. I mean, I feel no. I feel the same about like Indian and like Bengali food. Like if
I don't eat
there's
Indian
people.
food out. I never do. I can't. I refuse to at this point. I don't.
Why?
Because I'm like, unless it's a spot where my parents have selected, I'm not gonna enjoy the food there. It's not gonna be as enjoyable.
Why?
Because it's not the same as my parents' food. It's not. It's just not. It's not as good in any way. I don't want.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't
can say
want butter chicken and naan. I just don't. I never will.
no.
It's not
No,
good.
I mean, butter chicken. I think isn't really an Indian dish.
It's
like
not.
a
It's
British
fake.
dish.
It's fake.
It's a British
It's
dish.
like Americanized, like how Chinese, like
Yes.
how every Chinese
Yeah.
restaurant here is completely Americanized.
Yes. So I mean, there are some really nice, authentic places
Right.
where I've gotten food. The food has, it's never. I feel like I like how my mom's cooking works, but like if you want to go out and stuff, there are some really nice places, and the authentic stuff where they actually put real spices and it's not like fake stuff, and it's like it tastes really good. Like they're gonna be significantly expensive because they spent time cooking it and stuff like that.
The spots,
but
the spots right by you that I would go to are, I believe it's called Patel Brothers and Usha Foods. Those are the spots that I've been to.
Usha
And,
Foods is good.
I can eat food there. However, I forget which. I think it's one of those two where I get like my big samosas from. Like that's where we normally get like large samosas from, and those are fantastic. But I think also because I don't live in Queens, where like right by there is New Hyde Park, and there's so many like good Indian, like Middle Eastern, like types of foods there. Since I live further away from that, I haven't been exposed to it. Here in Washington, I probably will not have Indian food because I'm like, where are the Indian people? I don't know. I don't see them. There's no like communities here. So I'm like, I doubt if there is a real like Indian spot here that it's going to be good. And when I know that even I might be able to make something that's comparable in comparison, I wouldn't even bother, especially for Indian food, because I am very low in terms of how good my Indian food tastes. And like, for example, if it's cutlets, I'm going to eat from home. I'm going to eat from home. I love my parents' cutlets more than any other cutlet that I've had from anyone before. And same thing with like different curries and stuff. I'm just like, I don't like the spice palettes that other people use. So
I mean, I think it's like because we grew up with it, like our expectation of like whenever we go out, we want to get something more, like more bang for our buck, and like in terms of like Indian food, if it's similar to like, especially like if you go to like Indian place where like a buffet style, the food is terrible.
Oh, no.
They're trying to just get food out the.
No,
Do not go. I've gone to a couple, but usually they're. It's like if I. In that case, I'd rather just eat at home. It's cheaper. It's like I'm not a new experience, right?
Yeah.
I'm not.
I went
unless
into
they
that
have
once
West
with Larkin and a few other people like 4 years ago. I don't know if you'd remember this, but it was like 10 of us, and we went to a buffet style Indian spot. There was like Rachel, James, like I forget who else was there. Maybe like there were a ton of people there, but like we had like I think it was a lunch at one point. I barely ate any food there. I was hungry walking out. I was like,
You didn't eat? Oh, this shows my white American perspective. I thought it was great. I mean, I thought the food was excellent. I don't know.
I don't know,
but,
man.
yeah.
I just don't love it. It's because like there are foods there, like there's certain Indian foods. If you leave in a buffet style and you wait like 20 minutes, it's degraded in terms of quality so fast.
Yeah.
Like dosha or like appam and things like that, where it's like a hot.
You have to have it
essentially.
fresh.
You need to have it off the pan, and if you don't do that, it's just like you want to throw up. If you've had it fresh, it's like gross to me.
Yeah, India usually isn't like great in like room temperature or cold. It's just like a dessert.
Yeah.
And also like because I think the spices too, like if they start settling in the thing, it doesn't taste as nice. Very nice dosa place out in Hicksville that's really good.
Okay.
Super nice. It's also pretty good, pretty cheap. You get one for like $10.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Okay.
I think like I've shared it with my mom, so like you could literally get one and share it because it's like very big. So
gotcha. We are pretty
anyway,
close to time. I just want to double check. Prangon, do you have an appointment right after this? I'm curious because
not directly. No, I'm okay.
Okay. Just wanted to check because we're getting close to like 2 hours, and that's what I told you. Just wanted to make sure because I know you calendar block and everything. But let me just check if I have any other questions that I like are burning questions. Also, if either of you have them, feel free to jump in right now as well.
I don't know. I mean, we've had an excellent conversation. Brandon, it was great to meet you, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I agree.
I think that's one of the main benefits of doing like a podcast like this is to meet a bunch of new people. So it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and also since Larkin, since you guys are in the same area, just saying.
That's true. I'm in Queens. I'm over by Little Neck, Great Neck area.
Oh, okay, that's pretty close to me. I'm in Queens Village, so like literally down south.
Okay, I'm
south of you.
I moved here like 5 months ago, so I'm still getting used to like the Queens locations. You know, like
gotcha.
Like, where is Flushing? Where is Queens Village, for example? You know, I'm still learning these locations. But okay, yeah.
I think I'm just south of you, but it's like a 20-minute drive on the highway for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Larkin, I also will say, if you want to check out like Middle Eastern Indian style like spots, go to New Hyde Park. It's right by you.
New Hyde Park, yeah, I know
New Hyde Park is really New Hyde Park's really nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have
like anything.
Oh, go ahead.
Anything on Hillside Avenue, like in Jamaica, is usually pretty okay.
Okay, yeah, Jamaica,
yeah.
For sure, yeah. I think one of the nice things about Queens is like remarkably culturally diverse. Like I think I was reading like some statistics. It's Queens one of the most like linguistically diverse. It might be the most linguistically diverse area like on the planet. At least pure language. So it's really fascinating. And all these little like microcosms of different cultures, which bring great food, obviously. So New Hyde Park, for sure. I'll keep that in mind too.
Yeah, I will say that is the one downside of not being in New York, because like I'm very iffy about like going out to places now, because I'm like it's mostly American food type of spots, and I'm like, if there are other things, I don't know how good they're going to be, especially compared to New York, where it's so many like clear pockets of different cultures mixing. And the best part about that is the mixing of those foods too. Like you can get so many different types of styles of food there, and not having that nearby, even as someone who doesn't eat out very often, is just. It's kind of sad. I will say.
You're just gonna have to come go visit Alberta. I mean,
I'll be there in 2 weeks. I'll be home for.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah.
So I'm gonna be home for like 10 days for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, you should do it. You should try to do this in person.
I will be in Palmas also.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I mean, I think I definitely feel that if like I took a recent trip out to Pennsylvania, and we were in kind of Park, and we went to a diner there, and you were like, oh, this isn't bad. But like I think the level of quality and that living in New York gives is like, even if you're $10, the food is usually pretty. Even if it's just like gyro or like a mix, like a chicken and rice from the cart, usually like good. But this diner, like we tried it, and I mean it was like 6 of us, so like our bill was pretty on that, but the food was just like so mediocre. Like after we're just like, do we pick a good restaurant? And this had good reviews too. And I was just like, I think our like expectation for what is good food is just like very
It's
like
heavily
altered.
inflated from living in New York. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
I will
even
say
like bad
Southern
food in
cuisine-
New York is like much better.
Southern cuisine can still be very good though, because I remember I just went on a road trip last year down to Florida, and we stopped in Georgia, I believe it was, to get some food at one point, just at like a smaller food spot, and the chicken was fantastic that I had there. Like they have very good like meats.
Yeah,
and,
like when I was in
things like that. Yeah.
When I was in like New Orleans visiting family, they went to some like local fried chicken place. It was the best fried chicken I ever had in my entire life.
Yeah. And they're obviously also
like it was amazing.
Yeah, there are also like coastal areas that have very good like seafood and stuff.
Yeah.
So there are pockets still there, but I feel like generally
Most of it is
speaking,
condensed in New York.
Yeah, it's mostly like those big city urban areas that have the best food, but then like some different areas like Southern cuisine is definitely a huge thing that is like delicious, and then in the New England area, if you get closer to the coast, like clam chowder, things like that, like there are other great things out there. However, I do believe like New York, maybe even LA, although I haven't really explored the LA scene, I have a feeling that they probably do also have something similar, probably not to the same degree,
Probably.
but
no, nothing will top New York.
What can you do? Yeah, I mean we're so spoiled. I mean the food cart example is it really tells all, right? Because when you think about like getting food from a food cart in like a traditional sense, you know, you feel like that's the minimum. You know, that's where you get cheap food. You need to get it quickly. You need to go. But the food cart quality in New York City is
insane.
So phenomenal.
It's insane.
I mean, it beats out like most restaurants like in most other cities.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's just it's really remarkable. So
now when I come back in a few weeks, I have to get some halal guys, man.
No, not halal guys, dude. Don't do halal guys. You have to go from a much smaller like a cart, because like halal guys is just like been like, I think they ruined the brand, like the actual food quality or something.
Oh, it's not as good anymore in your mind.
They've grown.
And I think it's like, especially in Manhattan, it's like overpriced. It's like $15 for a box. And what am I paying for? It's like literally made for tourists now.
Gotcha.
So I recommend like trying to find like a nicer cart.
It is difficult though,
like a one person.
Because sometimes you'll walk up to carts. Like I know the ones in Bryant Park. When I was there earlier this year, they have a lot of like food carts there too, like in that area. And they're all like mixed. They're not just halal food. So like that throws me off too.
Like, that's like that's the touristy areas though. Like, so you have to kind of go to like, there's some really nice ones by BMCC, which is Manhattan Community College, where my high school Stuyvesant was. So we used to have some really nice halal carts there.
I forget you're a Stuyvesant kid. Yeah.
There we go. But I think like there's some really nice food cart, because I get speak Bengali. I used to get extra stuff on top.
Nice.
So it was really nice. Extra. It was very nice. And back then it was like $5. Now it's probably like 20, or like 10 now. But yeah. But yeah, it's definitely gotten more expensive. But
yeah, but that's just life. You know, that's just what's going on in the state, in the country right now. So can't really
I've gone to
anyone for that. Yeah.
I don't blink too much if it costs $10 these days. It's like enough.
Yeah, it's not surprising. Especially if it's like a nicer meal, or like if it's just a nice treat. It doesn't even have to be like a fancy meal. If it's just
I feel like these days with like halal cart stuff, I do kind of see it as a treat, because it's usually like not eat every day because it's so like fatty and like it's bad for you. It's kind of like having like chocolate chip cookies and stuff like that. Or it's like, it's really bad for you to have it.
It's really good. Also, this is the worst conversation for me to have right now. I didn't eat breakfast, and it's 12 right now for me. So I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. But yeah, that is true. Like, I'm just imagining that white sauce and hot sauce right now.
So good.
Dang.
Well, Albert, you'll be back soon enough.
That is true.
Yeah, we should do a meetup in person once you're done.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Do podcast live.
I was thinking about that too, because I'll be there for like 10 days ish. So we'll see. We'll try to make that happen too. But I'd be down to also just do like visits to the city and just
No,
like, do
yeah, of
things.
course, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, of course.
Just because I also just want to do fun things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my work schedule is going to be a bit weird, but I could do things on weekends definitely and like later at night. But I'll also be
Sounds
back
good.
in December for like 2.5 weeks, so there is that
Nice,
too.
nice. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah,
What was your last question?
my last question was: is there something that you are looking forward to over the next week or month, if you want to extend it that far, that is getting you excited to simply be alive?
I mean, it's not in the next month, but I do have a trip planned to San Diego in the
Nice.
new year, the beginning of the new
Awesome.
year. So I'm
Awesome.
excited about that. So first time, I guess traveling and like flying domestically.
Mm-hmm.
First time on the West Coast, and like so, there's a lot of firsts there. First time in California, so and I think it'll be fun. We're staying like a week, and
Very cool.
it'll
Family
be fun.
trip?
It's like not family, just friends.
Nice.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, another thing, it's like try to find a job that allows you to take vacations, without them being dicks about it. Not every manager is like super chill with you take vacation, so it's nice when they're okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to have like the remote environment right now, but like my PM, like, so long as I like let him know and I get approval beforehand, I can work out of state if I so choose to. That's why I'm like going to be in New York for a little bit longer, just because I have that opportunity to work remotely there. So
Uh-huh.
I'm very happy about that too, just to like be around family and friends a bit longer. Yeah. But that's very cool. Let me know how that trip goes whenever it happens. But I mean, I'll see you before that, obviously, since it's in January. But I'm very curious about that. Do you have like specific things that you're trying to do, or are you just like relaxing for the week, or?
I don't know. I think we might stay at an Airbnb, and so there might be. I think we're trying to find something with like a jacuzzi and a
Nice.
pool.
Okay.
But it's gonna be like, I mean, then it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be interesting because California is significantly warmer,
Right.
and how that's like. But there's also like the first, like I've never really done trips like this before. Like usually we've just taken a trip to go back to Bangladesh and visit Tibbs. So this is my first time doing this kind of trip. We're gonna be renting a car and stuff too. So it's a lot of new experiences. And yeah, it'd be nice to relax a bit. My manager keeps telling me to ask me to take vacation. He's just like, you haven't taken vacation. Take vacation.
Haven't you been there for over a year? You haven't taken any vacation?
I've taken like a day or two here and there,
Okay.
but not like my manager. Like one of my managers was like out for an entire month.
Month.
Just like
Okay.
clock out for the month. I'm like,
Is that what's
what are
going
you
on
doing?
at Lockheed? What? All right.
Yes.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's very chill.
Make a mental
highly,
note of that for future reference.
highly recommend, and I can refer you if you want. We are always hiring, even in this climate. Always more to support Uncle Sam.
Mm-hmm. For the other two, do you have anything over the course of the next week that you're really looking forward to?
Not over like the next week, but I don't know. Next year, my family and I are going to Italy. So that's gonna be cool. Do like a tour of Italy. And I've never really left the country like once. And then
That should be fun, yeah.
and not as a crazy other stuff, but Pikmin 4 coming out next year. A game I'm really been waiting like a decade to exist.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
definitely excited for that. That's the thing that's got me going right now. Like, ooh, I get to play Pikmin 4 next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I don't have nothing too crazy going on.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious.
Cool.
So I guess this will not be a weekly question to direct it. And
No.
you guys.
I got
I guess
absolutely
not,
nothing going on.
yeah.
I do the same thing every day. I go to bed at 4 a.m., wake up at 12, either do job stuff or nothing, and then go to bed.
Got you. Larkin, what about you?
Well, I'm looking forward to the election on Tuesday. I know I always look forward to the elections, or for the past few anyway, like following the stats as they come in, and
Are you
whatnot.
betting on anything?
I've got some money riding on the line, so
Okay.
we're gonna have to watch the margins carefully. It's gonna be extremely close. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't know, most people have Democrat Republican Senate at 50-50, so
I mean, I don't do it for
Yeah.
the money, but yes, I'm also watching it. I feel like kind of privileged because I live. New York is like a Democrat kind of
Right.
liberal state generally,
Yeah.
so usually I'm protected from a lot of the federal things that are going on. But
Mhm.
I think it is important to keep that in mind because I think like now that we're an adult, like those decisions matter more. I think 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be a political thing, but like 4 years of college kind of protected us from whatever is going on. But like now that we're an adult, like that matters more, and I'm looking forward to, I guess like my views being replicated. Even though this is probably going to be a tough election for those with my views.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm gonna need to find some sources to learn more about what's going on politically, because my only news source right now is Philip DeFranco's show, and like that's been pretty nice just to like learn about
Yeah.
what's going on. But that's
Might need
not political
some
clarity.
more well-rounded.
Yeah, I need some other stuff to like, but like they have to be like fun, like 10 to 15 minute shows.
No, I got you.
Because I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to
Oh,
just be bored out of my mind.
Right.
if you want, I ran Morning Brew. They just send you an email in the morning. It's really good.
I see. I
I've
know.
really,
I've
I've
been subscribed to Morning Brew for a very long time, and I just skip the emails every day. So,
oh,
like, I don't know. I
I like
tried,
it.
but it's just waking up in the morning and then reading through it. Like, they're enjoyable. They're enjoyable articles, but getting the motivation to be like, all right, let me turn on my desktop, go to my email, and then read through
Well,
this
I
thing.
usually read on
Did
my
you just
phone
read it on your
while
phone?
I read on my phone.
I guess you could. I guess you could.
What do you mean
check
you
your
guess? You don't
email.
have an email on your phone?
I do, but I don't really use my email on my phone. I don't know. I just
Well,
have it
maybe you
on
should
my.
start.
I guess. I'm just so comfortable using my desktop setup that I don't really use my iPad or phone for like checking most
I mean,
things.
you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to read it in the morning.
I know, I
I read
know.
it in my afternoon walks. It's not like emergency news. Um,
I mean, I know.
but also like there's also like this YouTube channel called TLDR News.
Okay.
So that does some like it's. I think it's more international focused because based out of the UK, I think. But they do some of the highlights. It's pretty good.
Gotcha.
Um,
Good to know.
I recently got a New York Times subscription because Georgia Tech offers that for free
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
to grad students. So it's been nice. I mean, I don't really read it, but it's nice. I'll get the emails. I'll read some of the headlines. Like, okay, this is sound.
Sure.
But
Right.
yeah,
Okay. I will answer the question right before we end off. So, the thing that I'm most looking forward to, I do have something for next week. Wakanda Forever is coming out, so I'm
That is
excited
true.
for that. From what I understand, it is a decent movie. So I really hope it's done well because they're having to juggle a new story plus also honoring someone who passed away very recently.
Uh-huh.
So, and who was the main character for the previous film and was seemingly going to be a huge character within that universe. So I hope they do a fantastic job. Generally speaking,
I think they will.
Yeah,
I think that movie's going to be very good, I think.
yeah, I hope so.
I mean, I think there was some like controversy about one of the actors about COVID and stuff like that. So hopefully,
Yeah, there was.
they can handle.
Was that the actress who played Shuri?
Yeah, she's like some
Yeah.
anti-vaxxer crazy person
Gotcha.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't recall. I know there was something. I don't remember exactly what it was because I don't pay attention to what celebrities typically do. Because
But who cares?
because why do I care?
Exactly.
I mean, also like these kind of movies usually get good box office ratings.
Yeah.
But I've also realized that like I don't really superhero movies. I think the last movie I watched was like there was a couple of months ago there was like the $3 movies for like that one day, and I watched Spider-Man
Mm-hmm.
like No Way Home.
Yeah.
So but like I'm not really much of like a movie watcher. Like, having to go to you can watch it on Netflix and stuff. I much prefer watching TV shows and like seeing it grow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like I'm not much of a superhero fan. I like because I feel like it's so predictable, the ending and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and having
it's
like an
become
ending
more
that's
predictable.
like you can think through like what's happened. Actually, it makes you think about the plot and stuff. It's more interesting. I mean, I watch a movie if I just want to numb myself. Like a movie, I want to just be like numb. Like I like to think at all. Like because like I know like we a climax or this is gonna be a big battle and like the hero's gonna win and like boom boom okay, like it's very like you create it's very mathematical. It's not really mathematical, but like in terms of like it's very like you know what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a build up stuff like that. But
I also
I don't really
agree
find that fun
because there's no longer a through line really in the MCU too. So it's kind of it's
the plot completely fell apart.
Yeah.
What's the plot anymore? Kang is there. Okay, cool. We haven't even seen him yet. Not till Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Like Phase 4 has just been such a shit show for me.
I mean, I thought the next thing was the Skrull invasion.
Secret Invasion is also happening, but they're not.
There's like 5 different plot lines going on at the same time. I don't know what's even happening anymore.
Yeah, Secret Invasion could have just been an entire phase.
What's happening? Disney is trying to make money. That's how you do it. You make a million movies.
Yeah.
And who cares? Who cares if like people don't like it? Random people still get box office tickets for it.
Yeah, I've started to step away because I'm like now perhaps I don't need to watch every Marvel property anymore. I don't think I need to because they've also made it not important anymore. They're like, yes, none of these things are connected anymore, even though that was the entirety of what made everything cool and interesting.
No, because I've watched everything because I still watch it with my dad. Otherwise, I would not be watching everything. I just think because it's something nice for me to do with my dad. But yeah, I have watched everything, Albert. You don't need to watch everything. Yeah. None of it is connected. There's like 5 different plot lines going on at the same time. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I didn't.
And a lot of it's just been bad.
Or Werewolf by Night, so I don't know.
Werewolf by Night I thought was actually pretty good, but She-Hulk was pretty bad. I think it's the worst thing the MCU's put out so far.
Okay.
I did not like it at all.
I heard She-Hulk was a little controversial, a little too pushy. Like there's a lot of criticism about how they portrayed the character and.
Yeah. I mean, also, I'm not just like I've learned I'm not like a very big like sitcom guy. Like they're very hit or miss for me usually. Either they're like the funniest thing I've ever seen, or they're not funny at all. And She-Hulk definitely fell into the not funny at all camp for me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm just like, this is just so stupid. Like,
my current hope is that DC reemerges from the flames with James Gunn now leading them.
I hope so.
This was a released piece of news last week that James Gunn is going to be taking over and essentially becoming the lead creative person for DC. So if they can get their shit together, Cavill's back. Like Cavill is back. Mm-hmm. So Superman has returned to the DC universe.
He's done with The Witcher though. He can't do both.
I'm really sad about that.
He can't do both.
Apparently that's also because the writers
I did see that
were disrespecting the books
the
and
source
the
material.
Games, like saying that they don't give a shit about that stuff. So, and Cavill is a huge fan of all of that stuff. So I can understand why he's stepping away.
I feel that, and like I feel like this is it's one of the things that I don't like about adaptations like this when they're like not true to it. Like when I want to watch a movie of like a book because I want to actually see how it's going to come out, I really want it adapted. True to like what I imagined it. Yeah. When it's like not, and like the producers and like they try to make their own twist to it, and like since some of them, like how many of them actually read the Witcher books and understand what's like
I don't think its origins really did because they were apparently they were mocking, like certain writers were mocking the source material, being like they just didn't like it or think it was good or whatever. And when you have that versus
then why are you working on that project?
Yeah, why are you working on that project? Especially when your lead actor, if your lead actor knows more than you, that's interesting. That's an interesting place to be.
I mean
you don't necessarily need to be an aficionado.
You don't need to be a fan, but I think you should at least be familiar with it.
Yeah, I mean Cavill,
so you can like pay respect properly.
Yeah, I mean Cavill was very good. I mean, he played the actor. He looked very similar to that, like how how they depict how Geralt looks. But with the new I forgot what was that.
It's one of the Hemsworth, like Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah, like the brother of the Thor guy, I think.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth's
so
brother.
like he doesn't look anything like it. It's just like a knockoff blonde.
Well, like white Cavill without the hair and the look,
yes, right? But I feel like his facial structure pulled it off.
Yeah.
His body style and his facial structure was easier to pull off.
Right.
And I mean Cavill pulls off Superman very well, I think. So and I think it's also nice when the actors and like the team really appreciate what it's based upon. They have an actual enthusiasm for it, and they're not there to make money or to get a promotion.
Right.
Um,
Also, sorry
and that's what
to
that's what
dunk this
about
on you,
things.
Larkin. I noticed you've retreated back into your shell because you know nothing about anything that's being
No idea
discussed.
what you're
But
discussing. That's all right though. That's all right.
yeah, but yeah, overall, Marvel has definitely. I think everyone has very clearly seen that Marvel has fallen off.
It has definitely fallen off.
And a lot of people lost
I mean, I feel
interest because of the year off that they took with the pandemic. That's that's not their fault, obviously, but they ended the book, and then like everyone took a break from it.
Like Endgame came out, there was a year of break because of COVID, and everything that's come out, like for Phase 4, like part of this multiverse saga, there's either been
it's been
like
mid at best
to mid at mid at
yeah, it's been mid at best, and
I mean,
there's no through lines at all.
No through lines. There's no plot.
Yeah, there's no interest for anyone that actually wants to get super deep.
Like, how many different plot lines are going on? You got like the Thunderbolts plot line going on. That's like, with Black Widow and Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you have all like the magic stuff going on with like WandaVision. You have that whole plot line. You have the mutants going on with Miss Marvel now. You have whatever the hell She-Hulk's doing. That's not connected to anything like. What does this have? Nothing has anything to do with anything else.
I think I see this with Disney's other properties too, like with Star Wars. I think they did a terrible job with the second trilogy, because it's literally a copy paste of a copy paste of the originals. It's literally copy paste. Guy lives orphan lives in the sand planet. Goes to save someone. Boom, becomes a Jedi, saves the planet, and then boom, it's the evil bad guy. And literally, they had the exact villain in that last episode. So literally, they couldn't. They had so much content out there in the universe they could have used to make these movies, but they didn't. And like a lot of the really great Star Wars, like fandom, the people who really like Star Wars and are fans of it, didn't even think of the second trilogy as like proper canon, because for them, like. It's like it was like shoddily done, and like it's like there's no real character development, there's no universe development, and whether some people characters I like Rey, I like Poe, and like Finn, which was actually interesting. Like what happens if like a trooper goes, goes rogue.
It would be cool if
like,
Finn got to do something for 3 movies.
Yeah. Like they don't really explore how Finn is just like 2 seconds. Yeah, 2 seconds. 2 seconds after he turns against his friends, he starts killing them all. Like he has there's no like character development of like, dude, you trained with these people and grew up with these people. How are you okay with just like turning around and like attacking them? There should have been some character development where he realizes like, oh, I killed a friend that grew up with like that. So they missed so much of that in
of the trilogy.
No, this isn't like in the first one. In the first movie, like Finn is like the rogue stormtrooper, but they don't really even explore his arc and stuff like that. So
yeah, I don't really remember those movies. They weren't particularly.
Yeah, they were kind of forgettable. Yeah. But now they've also branched out into like a million different TV shows because them are really connected to each other. Because they're trying to make first contact, which is great, but like there's no like ongoing story. And like so, like a lot of like for me, like as I like Star Wars, I've been falling back. By the way,
I'm not too sure why, but.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll try to speak slower. So I prefer if like they some of the more legends or existing books, like threw all that out just to make these. I consider like pretty shitty movies.
Yeah.
With people who I don't think actually really knows what Star Wars and stuff is about. Like they don't make a copy paste just to build nostalgia and celtics, and I think that's bad.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. I mean, it's just an interesting time we live in where people are just shoveling. It's no longer a film or a TV show. It's just content. It's just content.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because it's not a masterpiece in its own right, and it doesn't create a masterpiece when you put together all the pieces of the tapestry anymore. Like the early stage of Marvel did that, and I would say you'd have a similar effect for early Star Wars too, but it just feels like Disney's trying to put out everything that they can so that you could just watch and give them money. And it's difficult to like come to terms with that, because now it's just like, why bother at times. Yeah. Anyway, on that somber note, let's end off the podcast for today. We're over 2 hours at this point. So,
Let's
thanks.
conclude this piece of content.
Yeah, let's conclude this piece of content. Thank you, Prangon, for joining us today. I hope you had an enjoyable time, and it was definitely fun catching up with you as well. Yeah, so that's all for today. See you guys next time. Bye.
Yeah, thanks
Adios.
so much, everyone. It was great meeting everyone.
Yeah. All right, ending the recording now.